The 27th day of August 2024. Hello there, welcome to GTV Breakfast News. I am Alti Tisaida Sadiq, and in this half hour I will bring you stories on the local and the foreign front. To begin with, stories making headlines is the ban on the export of maize and other grains due to the ongoing dry spell in some regions of the north. Also, the Ministry of Finance has earmarked $5 million in that regard to respond to the current drought being experienced in the 8 regions. When we take you to the foreign front, the government of Germany has donated 100,000 mpox vaccines to contain the outbreak in Africa. You can watch the news live on GTV Ghana on Facebook. We're streaming there, and on YouTube at the GVC Ghana. The begin from the government has placed a ban on the export of grains, that's maize, rice and soybeans, due to the ongoing dry spell affecting the northern regions of the country. The directive takes immediate effect. Now, the Minister for Food and Agriculture, Mr. Brian Ichampong, announced this at a media briefing in Accra yesterday. And the minister explained that the ban is to ensure the availability of crops for the domestic market.
Now to January 2025. The following measures have been approved by government for implementation by the ministry to avert a food security crisis. With immediate effect, government is placing a ban on the export of grains, including maize, rice, soya bean, until the situation normalizes. This measure is essential to ensure the availability of these critical crops on the domestic market. Any farmer with stock and interested in selling should contact our district directorates across the country, our district aggregators, or the Directorate of Crops, Ministry of Agriculture. This is to ensure that farmers do not suffer adversely from this ban.
And the government is raising $5 million, equivalent to 8 billion cedis, to respond to the current drought being experienced in the 8 regions of the country. At a media briefing in Accra on Monday, the Minister for Finance, Dr. Amin Adam, said development partners led by the World Bank have pledged their support to deal with the crisis facing hundreds of farmers in the affected regions. Several hectares of especially grain farms have been badly impacted by drought as a result of low rainfall between June and early August this year, which are the planting seasons.
And I went to the farms. There is nothing left for the farmers. And given that the food from the north is what we consume from September thereabout to early in the year, it will just hit us very soon. And this is why I think it's a crisis. It's coming, as some people may see it, but others are already feeling it. We are seeking to raise about $500 million US, the equivalent of 8 billion Ghana cedis, to fund the crisis response program. This is so much money, but we are doing this also at a time when our buffers are almost depleted.
Let's do road infrastructure now. President Akufo-Addo has officially commissioned the School Junction Bataman to Tema Motorway road network. The 5.8-kilometer dual carriage will improve travel time of commuters from Ashali-Botwe, School Junction, Major and Bataman, whilst providing a fast link to the Tema Motorway. President Akufo-Addo said this feeds into the construction of the more than 1,667 kilometers of roads in the Greater Accra region alone, which demonstrates his government's commitment to modernize and improve road networks in the country to boost economic development.
Tema Motorway is a 5.8-kilometer dual-lane main carriage with asphaltic concrete pavement surface. The project has additional 5.8-kilometer single service lane with 2 6-meter lanes with asphaltic concrete pavement surface and walkways, as well as cycling lanes on both sides of the road. Construction started in August 2022, and within 2 years, the project has been completed. The road is now fitted with street lights, crash barriers, road markings. It is also aimed at improving road connectivity and access to the Boteman Sports Complex, which was the venue for the 13th All-Africa Games. The Greater Accra Regional Minister, Nikwate Titus Glover, described the School Junction Motorway as a project that will improve economic activities in the area.
This project and many more roads projects in the region shows your commitment to the people in the Greater Accra region. And I am confident that we in the region will reciprocate this trust by retaining the NPP government in the upcoming election come the 7th of December.
The Minister for Roads and Highways, Mr. Francis Asenso-Boakye, said the road network will reduce loss of productive hours for commuters.
As we commission this road today, let us recognize that this infrastructure project is a symbol of what we can achieve when we work together with the common purpose. The School Junction to Motorway Road will serve as a vital link for the entire region, supporting economic activities, improving access, and enhancing the lives of all those who use it. The success of this project depends not only on its construction, but also on the responsible use and maintenance of this vital infrastructure.
President Akufo-Addo said the new road network will tremendously improve economic activities.
By effectively connecting the east and west of Accra, this project alleviates traffic congestion, establishes new economic corridors, and promotes the flourishing of businesses and communities alike. Let it be known, the progress we are witnessing now is not the product of chance, but the result of deliberate, focused leadership and the collective effort of dedicated professionals.
The President touted the achievement of his government in the provision of infrastructure, particularly the construction of roads.
Across the breadth and length of our country, from north to south, from east to west, we're constructing roads, bridges, schools, and hospitals because we believe in a Ghana that delivers and works for all. Indeed, under my administration, we have added an unprecedented 12,830 kilometers to the national road network and completed 6 interchanges and 35 bridges across the country.
Cost of construction of the School Junction Boteman Motorway Road network is estimated at 182 million Ghana cedis.
Man Road Infrastructure President Akufo-Addo has broken ground for the commencement of works on the 10-lane Accra-Tema Motorway Extension project. The $338 million road project will have 6 concrete inner lanes and 2 outer asphaltic lanes. It is the first road construction to be done under the public-private partnership through Ghana Highways Authority and AT Express under 30-year design, finance, build, operate, and maintain concession. President Akufo-Addo said the project is part of a broader vision of his government to champion the modernization of Ghana's infrastructure to meet the demands of the 21st century.
59 years ago, Ghana's first president, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, broke the ground for the construction works for the Accra-Tema Motorway. The 19.5-kilometer concrete road connects Accra to the harbour city of Tema. From the Ghana Highway Authority estimates, about 35 to 40,000 vehicles ply the road daily. Today, President Akufo-Addo has broken the ground for the construction of the motorway extension project. The extension works will consist of 10-lane divided highway, part with full access control expressways dedicated for through traffic, and part with partial access urban highway for the local and community traffic. It includes the reconstruction of the Tetekwashi interchange and a new link interchange to Teshi. Additionally, there will be the construction of a new Community 8 interchange and construction of a new Lashibi interchange to integrate into the Flower Port Interchange, the Ashama Interchange and Tema Interchange. The project includes the construction of 8 toll plazas and construction of 10 new footbridges. Reconstruction will be extended to Polo Junction on the Liberation Road and reconstruction of Emmanuel Eye Clinic Junction on J.J. Rollins Avenue. This project is under a public-private partnership between the Government of Ghana through the Ghana Highway Authority and AT Express under a 30-year design finance build, operate and maintain concession with a strategic backing of the Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund, GIFT. The Minister for Roads and Highways, Mr. Francis Asenso-Boakye, said the extension works of the Accra-Tema Motorway is a critical segment that will pave way for enhanced connectivity and economic growth.
Ladies and gentlemen, the overall objective of this project is to remove the bottlenecks on this major highway to facilitate regional trade and economic integration.
The Minister for Finance, Dr. Amin Adam, said the PPP in the road sector is the new plan to carry out infrastructure development.
Through the strategic leadership of our government and the Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund, we have secured $380 million in equity and viability gap funding. Moreover, by relying on a PPP approach, we can invite financial institutions and a wide range of investors to further contribute to financing our nation's future.
President Akufo-Addo said the Accra-Tema Motorway, an extension of the PPP project, stands as a symbol of progress, demonstrating Ghana's capability to innovate and lead in the realm of infrastructure development. He outlined some of the road projects his government is undertaking.
1. The dualization of the Achimota-Ofankor Road of 17.5 kilometers. The project is currently 62% complete. 2. The construction of the Domi-Kitasi Road of 30 kilometers. This project is 26% complete. 3. The construction of the Atema-Akosombo Road of 64 kilometers. The project is 10% complete. 4. The construction of the Obeche-Bilamte Interchange Phase 2. This project is 87% complete. And 5. The construction of the Flower Port Interchange across the motorway. This project is 90% complete.
The $33.8 million Accra-Tema Motorway extension is expected to be completed within 36 months.
And let's do some politics now, headed towards the 2024 elections. The flag bearer of the National Democratic Congress, NDC, John Mahama, has committed to establishing dialysis centers in all 16 regions of Ghana when elected in the upcoming elections. He noted that these centers would ease the burden of patients who currently travel long distances for treatment. Speaking at the NDC Manifesto launch in Winneba, Mr. Mahama also promised to construct modern hospitals in underserved areas such as Boko and Yendi to enable access to critical health care across the country.
The International reveals that over 90% of Ghanaian kidney failure patients who urgently need dialysis are being denied access to this vital treatment. The report highlights that Ghana's overall dialysis prevalence is only 38.8 patients per million population, meaning just 38.8 out of every 1 million Ghanaians receive dialysis treatment. Recently, media reports indicate that 14 people in Accra died after a dialysis center was shut down. This, the NDC flag bearer John Mahama has identified this as a critical issue that he pledges to address if elected in the upcoming December elections.
We will establish modern dialysis centers in hospitals in regions that don't have them. Currently, most of Upper West, my own hometown, Bole, and other places, if you have a kidney ailment, the only place you can go for treatment is in Kumasi.
And you have to go with your wife, your family, you have to find a place to stay. It is a burden. And so we want to make sure that every region has a modern dialysis center so that we can ease the burden on persons with kidney ailments.
The flag bearer of the NDC, John Mahama, pledged to address the health needs of children as well.
We need a first-class children's hospital in Ghana. The existing children's hospital has outlived its usefulness. And so we're going to construct a state-of-the-art 500-bed specialist children's hospital in Accra. And so children who have sicknesses that cannot be handled in other parts of the country will come to Accra. There will be specialist pediatricians there to give them the care they deserve.
Mr. Mahama stated that to ensure the National Health Insurance Scheme functions effectively, it will be uncapped to provide full access to funds for the benefit of all subscribers.
We will uncap the National Health Insurance Levy. Currently, there's a cap on the levy, and so a certain portion of the levy goes into the consolidated fund. We will uncap the health insurance so that all the National Health Insurance Levy will go into the National Health Insurance Fund so that they can pay the hospitals for looking after our people.
Mr. Mahama also said his next administration would also establish a Ghana Medical Care Trust to support persons with chronic diseases.
We established the Ghana Medical Care Trust, into brackets, somebody calls it Mahama Cares, to support persons with chronic diseases such as kidney failure, cancer, sickle cell, diabetes, hypertension, and other health-related diseases.
Away from elections, in the heart of the vast Pacific Ocean where blue water stretches to meet the sky, leaders from across the region have converged upon the capital of Tonga, Nuku'alofa, for the 53rd Pacific Islands Forum, PIF. Ghana's Minister for Foreign Affairs, Madam Shirley Ayoko-Botchwey, was among the dignitaries invited, with the UN Secretary General, Antonio Guterres, declaring, if you pollute, you should pay.
Nuku'alofa, Tonga's capital, welcomed delegates with a mix of anticipation and urgency. The people of Tonga, like many of the islands in the Pacific, have been at the receiving end of climate change, but during the 53rd PIF, Tongans were determined to showcase their resilience to the rest of the world after the January 18, 2022 volcanic eruption and tsunami. And to these leaders from Australia and Vanuatu, it was not out of place to use the 2024 forum to focus on building resilience into everything they do, including the environment and the economy. The Crown Prince of Tonga, Tuputwa Ulukalala, described the gathering as a pivotal moment in the Pacific region and called for action from countries that are polluting the planet to mitigate the negative effects of climate change on the island states. The UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres said the world has a lot to learn from the Pacific as a beacon of strength and environmental stewardship. He, however, urged Pacific leaders to take their voice to the global stage because saving the region implies saving the world at large.
If we save the Pacific, we save the world. And Pacific Island states have a moral and practical imperative to take your leadership and your voice to the global stage. We demonstrated this leadership once again with the General Assembly's endorsement of the Multidimensional Vulnerability Index. We must now make sure that international financial institutions include them in their criteria for financial operations.
Out of the 18 members of the Pacific Islands Forum, 11 of them are member states of the Commonwealth, including Cook Islands, Fiji, Tonga, Papua New Guinea, Nauru, New Zealand, and Samoa, among others. It is barely left with 2 months for the Commonwealth Secretary General elections to be held in Samoa, and Ghana's candidate is Minister for Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration, Madam Shirley Ayoko-Botchwey.
More from the foreign front, Germany will donate 100,000 mpox vaccine doses from its military reserves to help address the outbreak in Africa. The gesture was announced by government on Monday and said the donation aims to provide immediate assistance to the affected countries.
In addition, Germany will offer financial support to the World Health Organization, WHO, through various mechanisms to combat mpox and assist its African partners via the Gavi Vaccine Alliance. Germany currently has about 117,000 doses of the Genius vaccine, which were acquired in 2022 and are being stored by the military. According to the Defense Ministry spokesperson, a portion of this stock will be retained for the protection of officials traveling abroad. The WHO has declared mpox a global public health emergency following an outbreak in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, DRC, that spread to neighboring countries. A new strain of the virus, clade IB, has raised concerns due to its rapid transmission. Germany is working to expedite the delivery of the vaccines to the most affected regions, primarily the DRC, Burundi, and other East African nations.
An airstrikes on a village in northern Mali near the Algerian border Sunday killed 21 civilians, including 11 children. The attack on the village of Tinzouatine marks the largest number of civilians killed by drones since the breakdown of a peace agreement between the country's ruling military junta and armed pro-independence groups in northern Mali last year.
The strikes on Sunday targeted a pharmacy. Then other strikes followed that targeted people gathering in the vicinity of the initial damage. The provisional total of these criminal strikes stands at 21, including 11 children and the pharmacy manager, dozens wounded and enormous material damage. In a statement broadcast on national television, Mali's armed forces confirmed the strikes. Airstrikes, including against civilians, are expected to increase as an act of revenge following the recent major setback to target mercenaries in northern Mali.
Let's now bring you the weather updates for today. And let's get Tuesday's weather update from our Chief Meteorologist, Felicity Afianyo, who joins us via the phone. Good morning, Felicity. Good to have you once again. And how is our weather looking like this Tuesday across the country?
Good morning, Motorway, and good morning to everyone in the studio. For today, we expect the weather to remain cloudy over most portions. Last night, a rainstorm moved over the northern sector, producing moderate rains and thunder with lightning. Still with them, those around the upper west region are in it this morning. We are expected to exit into Mali and part of Burkina Faso. For the southern sector, we expect it to be cloudy with some rain occurrences over Koforibia, Achimda, light rain or drizzle over Kumasi, Obuasi, Takwa, Safiba, Kwaikate, Karachi, Goso, Sunyani, and Techiman areas. For the afternoon, we expect just some few areas to experience it. Greater Accra, we have about 30% chance of them experiencing slight rain or drizzle. Likewise, those in Cape Coast, Takoradi, Winneba, and its environs. For the north, in the afternoon, will become mostly cloudy, and then in the evening, mostly cloudy conditions will prevail over the entire country, with 40% chance of rain and thunder over Narelugu, Wa, and Bolgatanga. The state of the sea is still expected to be rough, but then Volta Lake will expect some rain and thunder in the afternoon over the Kwame Danso and part of Afram Plains area. But this morning, just cloudiness is what we are anticipating with light rain, so they can do fishing activities. For temperatures in the afternoon, we expect it to be around 28, 29 over most areas. areas within the country. The north, we expect some areas to have 30 degrees Celsius, especially those in the Tamale environs will have a 30 degrees Celsius. The rest will report 29 degrees Celsius. So this is how it will be for today in terms of the weather forecast.
Thank you so much, Felicity, and I'm sure the farmers will be very glad if those thunderstorms turn to rain so that they can have some showers of rain for the planting season. But let's do the lotto numbers now. Coming up on your screen, the winning numbers for Alpha Monday are 65, 65, 57, 57, 36, 36, 78, 78, and 76, 76. Again, the Alpha Monday winning numbers are 65, 65, 57, 57, 36, 36, 78, 78, and 76, 76. That's it for GTV Breakfast News. There's more news when you do log on to our website at gbcghanaonline.com. A costume is by No Rush Collection. I am out at the side as Sadek, and I'm handing it over to Kaf and T standing by to tell you how the show is going to be like today. Hi, Kaf. Hi, T.
Hey, Martin T. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good to see you here.
Good to see you guys.
And welcome to the show. It's 27th of August, 2024. We've got a lot. What's up? Next, some male infertility issues, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So what are the causes of infertility and how do some of those causes relate to the male member of the partnership? So our partners from Medimosis, who are proud sponsors of GTV Breakfast, will be sitting with us at the BFS clinic to help us understand the whys.
Okay, you've got some sports conversations happening.
Yes. So at the weekend, the NDC Manifesto launch at Winneba, some ideas were dropped to help boost sports. So the idea is to bring back the love. So will the NDC's plan bring the love back to sports in Ghana? That's our question when we sit with Mr. Fred Awa from the NDC and some sports journalists to analyze what the sport on the ballot is for the NDC. That's what to expect on my side of BTV Breakfast.
There are conversations on education, and then we have a musician who is going to do his thing here on the show. Your messages, as always, on 055-556-1034. It's 6:29. The VFS clinic just around the corner. Male infertility issues coming up. Don't go anywhere.
Good morning. Welcome to the show. We are stepping into the BFS clinic. This morning we are talking causes of infertility, the male factor. Last week we discussed the female factor. In studio we have Dr. Prince Osei from Medimoses, and he's in here to be telling us all we need to know. How you can get interactive with us, however, is via socials. We are GTV Ghana everywhere, and our WhatsApp number is 055-556-1034. So come with us as we welcome Dr. Prince Osei and get into the conversation. Good morning.
Good morning, Val.
But today we can't answer all the questions. If we answer all today, so people, we are going to be sketchy with our questions today. That's just a job. Dr. Prince, good morning. Welcome to the show. How are you?
Yeah, by God's grace, I'm good.
Okay. So, doing my research, it says that male infertility refers to a sexually mature male's inability to impregnate a female. Yeah. So, who is a sexually mature male?
So, mostly a male who is from puberty. So, from puberty, that is where all the changes happens. When a male is young, mostly they are not sexually active. So, mostly from puberty, that's from age 14 thereof. Yeah. From that time, we can classify the male as sexually active, and by so doing, it means when he had unprotected sex, there is the likelihood of he impregnating a lady. Yeah. Okay. So if we talk about male infertility, it has to do with someone who is sexually active and who have sexual intimacy with a female who is also fertile, but is still not able to have a baby. Yeah. Okay. So last week we mentioned that when it comes to infertility, we have the female factor, we have the male factor, and we have factors that affect both. And you could see that the male factor forms between 40 to 50% of all infertility cases. So that is close to half. Yeah. So the same way that women are blamed for infertility, the men also have their roles to play. But in our part of the world, mostly we see that only the female mostly comes to the hospital when it comes to infertility cases, because we assume that we
are the problem.
Yeah, but it's not the case. They may also have a role to play when it comes to infertility. So both parties need to really pay attention to it when it comes to that. Yeah.
Right, but is that narrative changing? Are men coming to the clinic now with their women to check the fertility status?
Unfortunately, it's still the same.
Even in 2024?
Yeah, it's still the same. Though some men do come to the hospital, but they mostly come alone. Yes.
Underground.
They come alone to check if everything is fine, but it's not very common to see both male and female coming to the hospital together. Mostly we get a female coming in, but some men also come in every now and then. But then if you look at the factors that affect the female, it's quite more than that of the male. But that notwithstanding, the factors of the male too are very prominent, because the male have to produce the sperms in order to be able to impregnate the woman. So if there is any issues with it, it could affect the chances of getting pregnant. So both male and female has their role to play when it comes to infertility.
Okay. So what are the factors? What will cause a man to be infertile?
So let's know this, that if you are a man and you have sexual intercourse and you are able to ejaculate, that doesn't mean that you are able to have a child. So the semen that comes out, the semen is a combination of the sperms plus the seminal fluids. So the seminal fluids could come out without any sperm in it. Yeah, so you having the ejaculation, you seeing the semen after sex doesn't mean that all is well with you. That is what most men sometimes think, that once they have sex and they see the semen, then it means that they are okay. But it's not always the case. Sometimes the semen can come out, but there could be certain issues with it that affect it. So with the semen, we are looking at the count of the sperms. So we want to count the individual sperms in every ejaculate. So every ejaculate that comes out, we need to have not less than 20 million sperm cells in it.
Wow.
Yes. We need to have not less than 20 million sperm cells in it. So if there is any problem that affects the count of the sperm cells, then it could be an issue. So we have something that we call oligospermia, that is the low sperm count. That is when you have the sperm cells, but their quantity is not up to the 20 million that I mentioned.
Okay, Doc, hold on. So the quantity that comes out, or the amount, that comes out, does it determine the number of sperms? Sperms in the. So
the volume. You're talking about the volume.
Right.
Yes.
The
volume that comes out mostly has to be between 1.5 mil. 1.5 mil is very small.
Is it like a cup? Would it go?
The green cup. This will be like 5 mil. This whole thing will be like 5 mil.
Okay.
So 1.5 mil will be just a little amount of this, and the quantity has to be between 1.5 to 5 mil. So you can have a small amount of semen being produced, but then we should get the same quantity of 20 million sperm cells in it. There,
So it doesn't matter the volume.
It doesn't really matter. The volume mostly depends on the food you eat, your nutritional status and all that. So the food you eat and all those things will help your body to produce more of the semen. It helps enrich the prostate. The prostate actually produces about 70% of the semen. So it means that the more you eat well, the more you eat more fruits and vegetables, soups and all those things, the volume of your semen will be more. But then the sperm production is solely dependent on the testis. So if there is any problem with your testis, then it means that you wouldn't be able to produce more sperms. And every day, a healthy man produces...
We'll be pulling an image up of the testis and where the problems are.
Every day, a healthy man produces between 200,000 to 400,000 sperm cells. Every day. Yes, so the testis is working almost all the time. So you need to produce about 200,000 to 400,000 sperm cells every day. So that is how come if a man has sex with a woman today and even does it tomorrow, there is the likelihood that the woman can still get pregnant, because the production of the sperm is a continuous thing. Unlike the female, last week we mentioned that the female, the egg production is mostly once a month. You release egg once a month. If you are lucky, you are able to release 2, but then mostly it's once a month. And with the causes of the male infertility, we have the pre-testicular causes. So those one doesn't really have to do with the testis itself. There are some.
So the testis in this case is the ball.
Yeah, that's the balls. I like how you did the balls. So the testis, there are some of the factors that affect the testis itself, but there are some too that doesn't really affect the testis. So we have the pre-testicular causes. That one has to do with the hormone, the testosterone and all that. The pituitary gland produces those hormones and all that. So if the quantity is less, then it means that the testis wouldn't be able to produce more sperm cells. As I mentioned, you need to produce about 200 to 400,000 sperm cells. So if the quantity that is stored is being reduced, it means that your brain, your pituitary gland has to cause your testis to produce more sperm cells. But if that communication is not there, then it means that your testis wouldn't be producing enough sperm cells at its needs. And we have what we call the testicular causes. We have causes that are directly affecting the testis itself, and that one too can lead to you producing less cells. And when it comes to that, we have something that we call anti-sperm antibodies. So there are some antibodies like immune response that affect the sperm cells itself. So the sperms may be produced, but then there may be some antibodies within your body that fights the sperm cells. So your body is producing the sperms. But then there are some antibodies, when it comes to antigen antibody thing, it's like some part of your body fighting foreign material. So when you are exposed to, let's say, bacteria or unwanted things in your body, it's your immune system that fights it. But then we have some autoimmune conditions that sometimes fight the sperm cells, and that one too can lead to the sperm production being low. And we have the KS. There is another condition called the KS, the Klinefelter syndrome. That one, when it happens like that, it means that your testis, the size of the testis could reduce.
Wow.
So we have people with atrophy testes and all that. So the size of the testes is being reduced. The size, normal size of the testes, you know, there are some people
like
who it shrinks. Yes, it shrinks. So when we do the scan, we can measure the size of the sperm and the testes. And if yours is reduced, then it means that its ability to produce more sperm cells will be reduced. Okay. It's the same as the engines we have in car. The smaller the engine, the more power it can pull. So if the engine is big, it can pull more power. So the same way, if the testis size is small, it means it can't produce enough sperm cells as it should. When the size is normal, then it means that it can produce more of the sperm cells. And we have something that we call varicocele.
Okay.
The varicocele is just the swelling of the blood vessels that leads to the sperm. Okay. And we know that every organ in the body needs blood supply. So if there is swelling or there is blockade within the blood vessels that supplies blood to the testes, it means that the testes wouldn't be receiving enough blood. So it's just like the illustration I made earlier. You having a car and the tubes that will send the fuel to the car is not functioning well. It means that, yes, there wouldn't be enough fuel in the car, so it wouldn't move well. So the car wouldn't perform it functioning well. So the same way, if the blood vessel that supplies blood to the testes is blocked, it means that there wouldn't be enough blood to the testes. So your testes will eventually not be able to produce more sperm cells. And mostly what causes that is obesity. Obesity sometimes causes those conditions. And also alcohol and smoking also causes that. And sometimes to strenuous riding, you know, we have people riding bicycles, people riding motorcycles, and sometimes the road that we use, the bike will be just shaking their testes and all those things. It can sometimes.
So what does that mean for the drivers who ply roads that are really, really poor?
Yes, so with cars, you know, the seats are quite comfortable, but with bicycle, you know, you have that direct contact with your the scrotal area. So sometimes it hitting on the seats, and the seats too doesn't mostly contains this foam and all that. It's quite hard, so it hitting it so much could sometimes cause some pains and swelling within the blood vessels that supplies blood to the testes itself. So that can also lead to that. And we have the vast difference obstruction. The vast difference is what carries the sperms from the testes to the spermatic cords and all those things. So if the testis produces the sperms, it needs to travel from the testis to the prostate and out of your manhood during sex. So if there is any blockade within those tubes, then it means that you could be producing enough sperm cells, but then it doesn't get out of your body. So when you have sex, we expect that the sperm will come and mix with the prostatic fluid to form the semen. But we have some people who have sex and then the semen will come out, or the fluid will come out. But when we check it under the microscope, there is no sperm cells in it. Mostly we call that azoospermia. It means that their body probably might be producing the sperms, but then we don't see the sperm coming out. Or then it could be that their testis is not producing the sperm well. So these are some of the causes of the male infertility.
How about masturbation?
Medically, masturbation wouldn't really cause infertility. Because if you are healthy, as I mentioned earlier, if you are healthy, every day you are producing about 200 to 400,000 sperm cells. So if you masturbate, it means that the sperm cells are coming out, but then new ones will be produced. But sometimes people go the extreme. So the extreme, you know, when you're masturbating, sometimes the force that you use in masturbating and all that could sometimes cause some tear within the blood vessels, within the genital areas and all that. And that one can lead to the varicocele that I mentioned about. So the same way as I mentioned that riding bicycle could cause the varicocele, you having any strenuous activities within your reproductive system could also affect the blood vessels. The blood vessels are very tiny, they are very fragile and all that. So we don't have to put so much pressure on it. So masturbation could in a way cause it, but then it's not really the case, but it could sometimes cause some form of infertility.
How about tight underpants?
Okay, so with a tight underpant, it affects the production of the sperm cells. You know, the scrotum is hanging out for a reason. The temperature of the body is mostly around 36.2, 36.3 there. But the temperature of the sperm cells needs to be a little lower than that of the body. So that is around 36 or 35.9 there. Yeah. So it shouldn't be so much as the temperature of the body. So when you wear tight underwear, what happens is you are tightening your scrotum and your balls and all those things to your body.
Okay.
So if you've observed, in cold weather, the testis it shrinks. It's
Unfortunately, I won't be able to testify to that.
You can't observe. Oh.
But have Alan enjoy yourself.
I know the men can testify to that.
Does it happen to you when it's cold? Do you shrink?
When the weather is cold, you see that the balls will all shrink up, so that the temperature, it can get some of the body temperature to have that optimal temperature that it needs. And when it's very hot too, it sinks, like it sinks down, so that it wouldn't assume the body temperature. Yeah, so if you are wearing tight underwear, it means that even cold or hot, you are holding the testis so close to your body. And sometimes the temperature of the body could affect the quality and the production of the sperm cells and all that. That's why those tight underwear and all those things are not advisable.
Okay, so how do we check for male infertility?
The only way to check is to do a semen analysis. So during the semen analysis, a sample of the semen is taken. The quality, the quantity, as I mentioned earlier, is looked at. The pH is looked at. We look for infections in it and all that. Apart from that, we count the sperm cells in it. That is why I mentioned that you need to produce about 20 million sperm cells per ejaculate. So when we are checking, we don't need to see less than 20 million. If it's less, then it means that you have what we call oligospermia. But there are some people too who may have enough sperm count. Some people have about 40 million, but then the motility is affected. When I talk about the motility, it means that the sperms are not able to swim as they should.
So if they are lots, they are sort of cramped into like a small space.
Yes. Yes, so sometimes the sperm mostly have to have a head and a tail. So the head is where the chromosomes and all those things, that is where fertilization takes place and all that. The tail's work is just to propel the sperm cells. So it helps to propel it. So there are some people who may have only the head being produced, but the tail may be coiled, or the tail may not even be there. So it means that when it happens that way, the sperm cells wouldn't be able to swim well, and it can affect the motility of the sperm cells. Mostly, if any quantity that you produce, we need to have about 70% of it being very motile. So if we have it majority of it being immotile, then it means that your sperm production is affected. And also there are some people too whose production is the morphology of the sperm is affected. So as I mentioned, it has to have a head and a tail. So there are some people who have only the head, but they don't have the tail. There are some people who have only the tail, but no sperm. So when we are counting it, we count all those things, but we look at the differences in it. We look at the morphology, we look at the motility, we look at the pH and all those things. And we have another parameter called viscosity. So, you know, yes, when the sperm cells comes out, they are crowded together, as you mentioned. But we need individual sperms to swim. When after sex, we need it to swim individually. So, because you need just one sperm cell to cause fertility. But there are some people who, even after 1 hour, you see their sperm cells still packed together. So it means that the sperm cells might even die without being given the chance to swim in the woman. So that is where the prostate, the PSA comes in. So the PSA sort of break down that network of sperms to allow the individual sperm to be able to swim well when it enters the female. So if you have any problem, if there is any problem with even your prostate, it could lead to infertility. So apart from all these causes that I mentioned, the immune response, the varicose cells and all that, the prostate health too plays a very major role when it comes to fertility. There are some people who, they will do the semen analysis, they will see that the count and everything is fine, but then they are still not able to impregnate a woman. It could be that the PSA levels are low, so it means that the prostate wouldn't be able to, the produce those PSA to break down the network of the sperm. So all these factors could play a role when it comes to male infertility.
Okay. What are some of the weird things you've heard when it comes to male infertility?
It's basically about blaming the female all the time. Blaming all the female all the time. But it's not the case. We've had cases that female will come to the facility, we will treat them, maybe they may have issues, we will treat them and they'll be okay, but still they wouldn't be able to conceive. And you tell them, the first day that you come, we advise them to come with their partners. They'll tell them, their partner says they are fine and all that. But eventually the partners will come and you see that the problem is from the partner. And now you have to go back and start the whole treatment again. So it makes it quite difficult for we, the clinicians, and even you, the couple. Because if the two of you had come together, we would have done the test to know where the problem is coming from. Then we'll be able to solve all those problems. Okay. And as I mentioned earlier, when it comes to fertility, the male portion is there, the female portion is there, and there is the compatibility portion. Yeah, so when the two of you come, we'll be able to do tests.
Okay, and so when we come to the prostate center, what are the treatment options available?
Yes, so when you come to Medmosis, when you have any fertility issues and you come to Medmosis, we run tests on both the male and the female to find out where the problem is, and we will find ways to be able to treat it. We don't have to be scared when it comes to fertility issues. There is always a way around it. If we find out where the cause is, we are able to treat it very well. So if you're having any fertility issues, you can come to Medmosis. You can call our number on 0244 068 447. That's 0244 068 447. Either male, female, or if there is any issue going on, you can call these numbers and Medmosis will attend to you.
It's not a woman's sport. That's my take from our conversation today on causes of male infertility with Dr. Prince Osei from the Medi Conversation. Strict proof of NDC Manifesto is a focus on sport, and we'll also spend some time with Bogo Play. We'll take a break. See you.
going to dance. We're going to...
Hey, welcome back to the show. We're going to have a conversation on building a sustainable education system. We're going to be having this conversation with Professor Emmanuel Bamfoje. He's director for SEDEC, and Dr. Ekua Nkrumah Kufu. She's chairman for the local organizing committee for SEDEC. They're going to be telling us what SEDEC is. And there's an important conference coming up which they will also tell us about it. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to our show.
Very well.
How's your day so far?
Well, exciting, and we had a good night rest.
Yeah? How's the traffic situation getting here?
Well, currently, because of the West African road leading towards Ivory Coast, there's this construction at the Budubram Road. So usually now traffic is within 4 hours to get to Cape Coast instead of 3 hours. That is good.
Okay. All right, welcome. Okay, so please give us a background to this conference. What's SEDEC, for which you are director, please?
In fact, earlier on, we have been for the past 13 years now. We started as Applied Research Conference in Africa called the HACA. But since 2015, we now realize that we are looking at the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals. And because of that, in 2020, we did a rebranding of, linking the SDG to the conference. That is why it has now been branded as the Sustainable Education Development Research Conference, called SEDEC for short.
Can you run us through some of the current challenges we are facing as a country when it comes to education sector, please?
Well, basically, in terms of the issues with education as linked to the SDG. If you look at the SDG 4, it has several targets there. For example, it talks about free, equitable education at the second cycle institution. It also looks at the enrollment of boys and girls in the university and the higher institution as well. It talks about TVET training, like technical vocational training currently. All these are targets that the United Nations has earmarked for global, leaders to make sure that they achieve in their respective country. And they have targets that countries are supposed to look at. So basically, that is what this SDG is all about. And those are the challenges that we want to try to address, so that by 2030, which we have less than, I think 6 years or so to achieve it. So that's where we are looking at this now, to see where we are in the continent of Africa.
Doc, I'll bring you in here. From your perspective and being the chairman for this committee, what are some of the highlights you want to bring to the public?
Okay, so this is an interdisciplinary conference, and so a lot of professionals from various fields are coming for the presentation. We are looking at those in the teacher training colleges, and so we have a panel discussion from principals from teacher training colleges in the country, and then we also have those in the technical areas. So we are getting a lot of presentations, panel presentations and paper presentation from lecturers from the technical universities. Others from the regular universities are also coming on board. So it's an all-round conference.
So when does it begin and when does it end?
So the conference is beginning on, in fact, actually tomorrow, that is from 28th, and ends on Saturday. So it's a 3 days conference. Where? Specifically in University of Cape Coast. At the School of Graduate Studies auditorium.
Who is invited? Who is invited to this conference?
Well, basically, the conference is an international conference where we have a lot of host of people coming over from the universities in Africa. The President of the Republic of Ghana has been invited, and which will be around to come over to support us in this regard. The Minister for Education for Ghana is also coming, and we have the Minister of Education for Kenya, who is also coming on board as well. We have a host of Vice Chancellors, the University of Vice Chancellor for University of Johannesburg, KUST. In fact, Johannesburg University delegates have already arrived. Basically, these are researchers in the universities that want to look at where we are in terms of the SDGs. So we have papers regarding free education. We have issues about equality, gender equality in the TVET or engineering programs. We have STEM. And these are issues that they have written and they will be presenting. And in fact, it will be an exciting time to look at where we are in terms of the SDG.
Okay. So, for instance, what happens tomorrow? What are the highlights for tomorrow's?
Yeah, so tomorrow will be the opening ceremony.
Okay.
So we start with the opening ceremony. There will be keynote addresses, especially from our Minister of Education, as a representative for the President of Ghana. And then we also have other keynotes speakers on board tomorrow. And we'll start the sections. That is the conference sections also tomorrow. That is the second section.
And then perhaps on Thursday
we'll continue. There'll be keynotes, speakers, presentations in the morning. Then the preliminary sections also continue tomorrow.
Right. Across social media, is there going to be a link where people can be able to attend this conference virtually?
Yes. Basically, this conference is in partnership with the Cape Coast and Khan University. So they would also look at going through the website of the Cape Coast and Khan University. In fact, it's part of the 40th anniversary of the Cape Coast and Khan University that we are partnering to bring about this international conference. So anybody that wants to view this particular event virtually, which will be virtually because it's part of SDG, and SDG people also is an hybrid form of conference where we have those virtual people coming on board. Interestingly, we have participants from China, from Ukraine, from US. I'm even fascinated that the professors and the PhD holders are sending papers and they want to participate even in a war-torn zone area. So that tells us how big the conference is, and indeed, at the end of the day, we want to find out some policy direction so that at least we can achieve certain targets within the 2030.
Okay, thank you very much for coming. Thank you so much. We've been having a conversation on building a sustainable education system. The Sustainable Education and Development Research Conference, it aims to discuss research findings and move Ghana's educational system forward in terms of the SDGs. It's happening, it's beginning tomorrow. It's a 3-day conference at the University of Cape Coast. The details are right there on our screens, and we've been having a conversation with Professor Emmanuel Bamfoje. He's a director for SEDEC, and Dr. Kuya Nkrumah Kufu. She's chairman for the local organizing committee of SEDEC. We'll see you after this break. There's the newspaper review, and our guests are already walking in studio.
And welcome. This is GTV Breakfast Sports Update. I am Side as I take lots of stories making headlines on the local and the foreign front. Let's begin with some big stories. The Ministry of Health donating an ambulance to the Ghana Football Association. Now, the GFA, in partnership with the Ghana Health Service, adored a brand new ambulance for the GFA's Technical Center, Ghana Man Soccer Center of Excellence, on Monday, August 27, 2024. Now, the fully equipped ambulance, which will be stationed at the Technical Center, will provide emergency support to the facility's users, players, and officials and staff in general. The new ambulance is expected to boost emergency healthcare services at the facility and also help to augment efforts at improving health delivery at the Ghana Man Soccer Center of Excellence, which serves as the camping base for the country's various national teams. This has been achieved by the kind courtesy of a partnership between the GFA and the Ghana Health Service, which is an agency under the Ministry of Health. Now, they said they're extremely grateful to them for the immense support. The ambulance will be put to good use and serve its purpose for football here in Pampram. That was what President Kurt Edwin Simon Okreku was saying, accompanied by the General Secretary Prosper Harrison Addo, Vice President Mark Addo, and members of the Executive Council, the Member of Parliament for South Tone, Kobla Mensa Winston Wyoming, and former Vice Chairman of the GFA, Fred Papu, former General Secretary Emmanuel Jima, delegates to Congress and the media to officially outdoor the brand new ambulance. More developmental projects that the GFA is doing, and this time is housing, because the president of the Ghana Football Association, GFA, Kurt Edwin Simeon Okreku, yesterday, August 27, 2024, cut the sword for the construction of a 40-bed accommodation facility at the Ghana Man Soccer Center of Excellence in Pampram. The president was supported by members of the Executive Council, delegates to Congress, former GFA top officials, including the former Vice Chairman, Fred Papu, former General Secretary Emmanuel Jima, and the media to perform the ceremony at the New Look Technical Center. Now, the construction of this 40-bed accommodation facility marks a significant and pivotal step towards upgrading the center to meet international standards. The construction of the new edifice is part of a grand plan by the leadership of the Football Association to give the technical center a fitting status in the scheme of African and world football. Funded in part by the World Cup 2022 allocation from government, the project aims to elevate the center's infrastructure to accommodate various national teams and host matches. President Simon Okreku applauded government for the support as he cuts the sword for the start of the legacy project, expected to be delivered in the accordance with very high standards and specifications. Now, he went on to say that he's very excited to see and celebrate the decision to construct the 40-bed accommodation facility in Pampram. And he wants to use the opportunity to express his gratitude to Executive Council and members of Congress for their support for such a major project for the forward march of our game. The effect, he said, about it is what is manifesting, and he hopes that when we gather again, they'll be happy to inspect a fully constructed 40-bed accommodation facility in the Pampram area. And let's look at what Samatex FC is doing, because Samatex head coach Nuruddin Amadou is gearing up for the highly anticipated clash against Moroccan giants Raja Club Athletic in the CAF Champions League qualifiers. Now, following a confident 2-0 aggregate victory over Victoria United in the first preliminary game, Amadou expressed excitement about the upcoming challenge. He spoke to the media, and Amadou acknowledged the strength of their opponents, starting saying that he knows Raja Casablanca is a strong team with a rich history in African football, but they're ready to give them a tough battle. His optimism is grounded in the solid performance of his team, who managed a back-to-back 1-0 victories in both legs against the Cameroonian champions. The Timber Giants are aiming to secure a spot in the group stage of the prestigious competition.
Game in general. We anticipated that it was going to be tough because when we went there, the clip, we didn't video the match. And so I play back and see exactly played there. And you could see that we have a long way to go because we have to learn. Because they were very physical, but I told them that they should be composed. They should foul us, we shouldn't foul them. Because in an attempt to also retaliate, maybe Benjamin would have gone against us. So I think that it was a difficult game, but what is most important is that we have won.
You just got the job done because we saw how you won the second balls.
Yeah.
You didn't allow them to, attack through the middle. You think tactically we
were able to repulse their attack, and then we were able to counter them to get the goal. But today, too, that's the same thing they played. Yeah.
The season started very early for you. You have played in competitive games, 2 already, against the same side. You face Raja in the next round. What are the plans and the preparations going to that one?
I think that we need to grow. We need to be tactically awake a little more. We have certain things that we shouldn't be doing at this stage. But I think that it's a young team, and so we will grow into maturity as the game progresses. We anticipate a very tough side because Raja is an experienced team. They are experienced in the champions, but we will give them a match of their lives.
I think the 2 games against you what you
it has given us some insight as to how we should prepare in certain players. When we went there, some players featured. I took them out, brought in some 2 players who I have to think about it, especially when I go and sit back and look at the game. Then I have to prepare players going forward.
And yes, we wish them the best of luck. Hopefully that's the triumph. Now let's look at some transfer news. And the La Liga, Colombian captain James Rodriguez had returned to the La Liga for a second spell after joining rival
It's 27th of August, which means birthday is loading. We're done. And so you're back with Bogo Blay. Okay.
Later on.
All righty. So we'll see ya.
See you.
Okay.
Bye.
All right. Headlines. the Internal Audit Agency, Dr. Eric Odro-Osai, fresh off a very successful conference last week. And sitting next to him is Professor Daniel Bruce, who we haven't seen in a while, so we're happy to have back here with us. Gentlemen, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Good morning.
Prof. Bruce, Dr. Osai, good morning. Welcome.
Thank you.
And congratulations on the conference from last week. Yes, it was an interesting conversation. What's on your mind this morning?
Thank you very much. I think what's on my mind this morning, as Ghanaians, the stage is set for us to go to the polls to elect leaders, the people who will lead this country and bring development for the next 4 years. Both political parties have launched their manifestos. I advise that we take our time to digest the manifesto, connect with the manifesto, and then try and start forming your opinion as to who to vote for. So I encourage all Ghanaians to take their time to read the manifestos of the various political parties. It is interesting. And I think at the end of the day, whichever political party wins, we should be bold enough to hold them accountable and responsible for the promises they've made in their respective manifestos.
Okay, so get the information before you make your decision. So that's a call by Dr. Osai. Do you think the National Commission for Civil Education should be really up and doing around this time, just spreading that information and letting people know what to look for, you know?
I think so. I think NCC, and I know they are working towards that. I think all they were waiting for was for all the political parties to launch their manifestos, and then they will join forces with the political parties to disseminate the information in their manifestos. But I also think that the political parties themselves must also take up the responsibility of reducing the manifestos into other local languages. Some of the manifesto promises, when you read them, technical English, people cannot understand unless they explain. And you may never know how somebody would explain it. So I advise that the political parties must also take the necessary steps to reduce these manifestos into local languages that people would understand. It is not enough to stand on a political platform and explain it in a language that they can understand. Convert it into another language. So, for instance, I would want to see manifestos converted into the Ghana, any of the Akans languages, Hausa, Dakati, all of that, all of that, so people can understand. So I think it is one of the things that we don't do well in our democracy. But we should remember that democracy is not all about the elites. It connects more with the people down there. If they don't feel governance at the local level, unfortunately, we've missed it. So I think this is the call I'm making to all the political parties to take the next step. After launching, reduce your manifestos into local languages so people can understand and connect appropriately.
Okay. On that note, I'm going to set you an assignment.
Yes, sir.
So I need translations into whatever Ghanaian language you speak for the following three. Great transformational plan. I want a translation from that. That's a movement for change. Great transformational plan. Okay. I also want a translation of bold solutions in Hausa, whatever. Bold solutions. Then I want 24-hour economy. I also want that translated in the various languages. So pens, you can start writing right now, and at 8:30 we'll get results, I'm sure, on our board. So bold solutions, great transformational plan, and 24-hour economy. Break it down in the language of your mother, okay? In your mother tongue. That's your assignment this morning. Bruce, good morning.
Good morning.
It's a big assignment. It's a big assignment, yes.
I will attempt the 24-hour economy.
You want to attempt it?
Yeah.
Okay, so you let them come first, and then you will mark.
Then I will mark.
You will mark. Let them bring their scripts, and then you mark.
Okay. Yeah. What's on my mind?
Yes.
I have two issues. First is to congratulate Paul Kagame for winning about 99% of the votes to emerge the fourth time as the president of Burundi.
Rwanda.
Sorry. It was his good deed that the people saw and realized that they can repose their faith and confidence in him, and so they elected him for the fourth time. So congratulations to him, and I wish that all of us must look up to where Kigali is becoming the darling boy of Rwanda, yes. His deeds is actually following him before he even died, and we say your deeds shall follow you.
Secondly, I would like to actually back what the vice president and the presidential candidate of the MPP is saying, that there shall be no single drop of blood during this year's election. 3 weeks ago, when the president was commissioning some ambassadors, he also reiterated that this year there will not be any vigilantism in Ghanaian democracy. And so I want them to back their action by an appeal I'm going to push to the two of them. That there was lots of lives in the last year, 2020 election in Techimasaf. We have never arrested the perpetrators, so that we punish them for people to see that really there's no place for vigilantism in Ghanaian democracy, and there should not be any single drop of blood during elections. The Aya also by election is also there, and so I would like the president and the vice president, the two of them are calling for bloodless election. Those people who did these two events were involved in them, they must be punished. For all of us to see that vigilantism or hooliganism during election has come to an end. Apart from that, it's just a statement of assurance without action. So I'm appealing to our two leaders to make sure that perpetrators of the Techimasaf killing, they are brought to book in the full glare of the public, for us to say that henceforth, if you dare to kill somebody because you want to win an election, there's no place for you in Ghana. You must also follow the person to the grave. After spending some few days in Sawon, we prepare to die. You see? So please, I'm appealing to them that this year there should not be any single drop of blood. And people who are out there maybe planning mayhem. See, politics is not about do and die. Look at the example of Paul Kagame. His own people are electing him because of the good he is doing. Someone went to Burundi and saw Rwanda. Oh, sorry, I don't know where I'm going. Their neighbors. Rwanda. I was full of praises for Kagame. That you don't even see the pen dropping on the street of Rwanda. You see? So please, Ghanaians, let's rise up and protect ourselves. You can't tell somebody I'm going to vote and that's the end of your life. Yeah. No. It should not be so. Politics is not about do and die. Like we are saying, read the manifestos of the two political parties and other ones, the one that convince you, you vote it. You see, you don't allow somebody to say, oh, go and vote for this one, go and vote for this one. No, you yourself must take the decision on your own. Based on this, let's take an example from Joshua, who led the Israelites to the promised land. He said, look at what happened to you in Egypt. Look at how the gods there, whether they supported the Egyptians or they work against the Israelites. Whether if you have chosen to follow them, as for me and my house, we are this. NPP, NDC, look at them and tell yourself, as for me, I will vote for this one, based upon the manifesto they have written and presented to Ghanaians. So don't go and kill anybody. Don't try to still vote for anybody. Don't try to print ballot papers in excess for somebody. If the person wins, we take it salary, you will still be struggling and walking on the streets, moving about. How many days will 100 Ghana cedis take you? So don't take any money. Vote with your conscience. That's all. Don't kill anybody.
I think on that score, in the Kagame's example, one of the things that leaders, I don't know what happens in other jurisdictions, do not do well in, is reproducing themselves. People must understand that if you call yourself a successful person, you should be able to point to your successor. So the question then is, who is Kagame preparing to take over from him? It will be sad. So the way he started, if he's not able to prepare somebody to take over from him and continue to build on his good legacies, I think it will really derail all the good things he's done. So lesson then is, yes, he's doing well. You may be doing well today, but who is your successor? Because you can only be successful if you can point to your successor who can build on the good practices you have started. Secondly, it is becoming almost a norm in governance that if you are doing well, they maintain you. But you get the Western world coming in to say that, look, you have overstayed in office, and then they start ranking the longest serving president without looking at what the person has done. Museveni is doing well in Uganda. When he goes into any elections, he will garner more than 80%. Kagame is doing well. It is likely as many times as he wants to contest and God gives him life, he will win. We should not allow these people to come and tell us that you've stayed in power for far too long. So the longest serving something. It is the longest serving and he's bringing development and the people are happy. What is wrong with that? So I think that one we should also be very careful about. And finally on what Prof said, you see, people must also note that there is a Vigilantism Act. There is a Vigilantism and Related Offences Act that has been passed as far back as 2019. And it applies to political parties, a political office holder, an official member of a political party, a landowner or a purchaser of land property, those who engage in landguardism, and then real estate developer, a public office holder, and then also those who fund the activities of political, the vigilante groups. And people must know that, look, if you engage in this act, you can even be barred from contesting elections to any public office, or you can also be barred from holding any public or political party office at least 10 years, in addition to criminal action that can be taken against you. So please, election is not about war. Election is about democracy, is about express your view, let me express my view, and the majority view prevails. You don't have to fight. We've gone through this before. We went through 2000, went through 2008, 2012, 2016, 2020, and we'll go through 2024. We should not fight. Read the manifestos. The one that you align with, go and vote for the person. Go home and sleep after that. After 5 p.m., they'll start announcing the result. Whichever leader God chooses for us, we will be able to align with the leader's vision and run with the leader. But do not fight. Remember, there is the Vigilantism and Related Offences Act there that can catch up with you. And when they are dealing with you, it's you, the individual, not your political party. So it is you and your family that will suffer, not that political party you fought for.
You're watching GTV Breakfast. A word to the wise is enough, and hopefully that should sink deep into your soul. Okay. You know, I went to church on Sunday for a christening for one of my nephews, and the Osofo, isn't that a guy on GTV? Then I had to come and give an impromptu speech. Okay. He says, "So today, you know, we are getting towards the election, so come and say something." So I went there, and I opened my mouth, and I said something. Basically, I told them what I heard when I went for another meeting sometime back, and reminded the congregation that the election will be happening now. It's 102 days' time, okay, on a Saturday. On Monday, after the election, children have to go to school. Definitely. Yeah, they have to go to school. So let's create an environment where the children will go to school in peace and quiet, and the parents have to take them to school. That's right. So that was my message for the elections, and I think it went down quite well, if I must say so myself. So those are the what's on the minds of my guests. Please, I hope you are doing your assignment. I need local language translations of Great Transformational Plan, Bold Solutions, and 24-hour economy. We have the ever script card here. I don't know which script Dr. Hassan wants to
I'm not sure I want to try it.
So no, you mark. You just listen to it like you mark. Okay. So it's big news concerning dry weather. So there's a drought situation affecting 8 out of our 16 regions that make up Ghana, and some action is being taken by the government. So front page of today's Daily Graphic, government has outlined an 8 billion CD plan to support farmers affected by dry weather to ensure food security in the country. The funds will be sourced from a combination of the contingency fund, budget realignment, and development partners. So the Minister for Food and Agriculture, Dr. Brian Achampong, said estimates suggested that farmers in the affected areas had lost investments of approximately 3.5 billion cedis, risking a potential revenue loss of 10.4 billion. So almost 2 million hectares of crops are at risk, and they are likely to lose an estimated investment of 7.4 billion cedis if there was total crop failure. Some measures have been taken. Immediate ban of export of grain that these crops are available on the domestic market. We're making attempts to his comment on this particular issue. But I'd just like to have your thoughts on this. I'll start with you, Dr. Asai. So government outlining some support for farmers, providing 1,000 cedi per hectare incentive to farmers, basically trying to mitigate the cost of anything that may arise because of bad weather.
Bad weather. I think it's good. In this day and age of climate change, climate resilience issues are very important. And I'm happy the Minister of Agri is taking this measure. You see, if we are not proactive, we'll be caught pants down as soon as the drought starts. And as soon as the drought starts, we are going into elections. So these things are not very good for any country. So I'm happy about the measures they are taking. And I'm also happy that he wants to take the money from the contingency fund. Because the contingency fund under Article 177 of our Constitution is meant for such unforeseen circumstances. And I'm also happy about the amount he's indicated per hectare. The only thing is that we should be able to administer it well. We should be able to put in place an appropriate framework that would help us to map out who the farmers are. And the farmers must also take advantage of this. I don't expect farmers to access these funds and then use it for other purposes than to shore up production and crop cultivation so that it will be able to close the anticipated gap likely to arise as a result of the anticipated drought. So it's a good measure, it's a proactive measure, and I commend the minister and government for that. But we should be mindful of implementation. We should be able to provide adequate direct support to the farmers and guidance so they'll be able to use the money for the intended purposes. And we should put in place a framework that will cover the entire value chain, up from beginning to the end, from farm to table, so that we would assure ourselves that that anticipated food drought will not occur. And even if it occurs at all, these interventions that have been put in place will be able to somehow resolve the issues. So I commend them for that. But farmers, be on their guard. Make sure you use the money for the intended purposes.
Thank you so much. Our colleague Thelma was in northern Ghana twice over the last 2 weeks. And hopefully she can give us a sense of what she saw when she went there with respect to the kind of weather and how it's affecting farmers, because she was there on a particular issue, this particular issue, over the last 2 weeks. Dr. Bruce, farmers getting help from the government, monetary support, trying to avert any negative consequences of bad weather, climate change, dry spells, drought.
Fortunately, I was in Tamale throughout last week.
What was it like?
Yeah, from Monday to Sunday.
You didn't meet Thelma?
Oh, I didn't meet Thelma.
Okay, you didn't look for her.
I never knew she was there, so I was. But, you know, just from the Tamale International Airport, going to town, you know, apart from psychology, I'm a farmer also.
Okay.
Yeah, I specialize in vegetable production.
Okay.
Yeah. Looking at the maize plant, I know they were in trouble. I knew they were in trouble. And when you view the area from the airplane, you see the area view of Tamale. It's a huge landmass. Yeah. Huge landmass. And if that place is under threat of weather, then we can see the effect of agriculture, the effect of food production that drought will produce. So luckily, it rained on that Monday arrived, it rained that Monday. Tuesday it rained, Wednesday it rained, heavy rainfall. So for the 3 days, the crop started showing out dark green leaves. And myself, I became happy. And I said, oh God, let the heavens continue opening for the rains to come. But it is also a task to us. We must now know that it is a reality that the effect of climate change that we are talking about is still real. And therefore, once we have these huge volumes of water, white water and the black water, I think we should take advantage of them now and make sure that we go into serious all year round agricultural production using irrigation as the way out.
These are good points.
Than relying 24 hours on the rain.
I'm going to put some of these questions to the General Secretary of the General Agricultural Workers Union. He's on the phone right now.
He's on the phone.
And then I'll get back to you on that. Former General Secretary of the Ghana Agricultural Workers Union, Mr. Edward Kadewe. Good morning. Welcome to the show. Government is outlining support for farmers, has banned the export of key grains. What's your thoughts about what's going on in these 8 regions of Ghana and the level of support that the farmers are getting?
Well, good morning to you, and thank you for the opportunity to continue to share some views on this important subject. Well, at this stage, government has no choice than to do what they are doing. But again, it is a reflection of a person who does not prepare for the day of trouble. We all know that one day there will be trouble, so we must prepare as individuals. That's what we need to do. A wise person prepares against the future. A foolish person will wait until when the circumstances don't occur, then you now say, oh, I should have done this. And then you now get up and you are preparing, trying to solve the problem, and you will not be able to solve it. I'm surprised about government because government, in responding to this issue, have promised to spend $500 million, if that is correct.
Yes.
How much was it going to cost to construct a portable multi-purpose dam for the 15 months that it was supposed to be constructed? $993 million. Just on the spell of the moment, government is ready to spend $500 million to deal with a 2-month drought, the impact of 2 months drought. Government is ready to do that. Meanwhile, you are not ready to spend just nearly $1 billion to construct this dam, which will serve many, many years and many areas. So you see, one will not say it is not good for government to intervene, but it is, for me, it is the hypocrisy of government. You now come and you speak as if you are concerned about agriculture, you are concerned about the people. I watched the ministers, their demeanor. It was pathetic. They were virtually appealing to us to understand them. They were sober. They were saying we should believe in them, that what they are going to do, they will do it. And there was one journalist who was asking whether this will not be politicized. In fact, they were not so happy with that. And they were saying, who politicize something like this nature? But you see, people ask questions based on history. And so it's something that government has no choice, but unfortunately, this is not the type of response we should be expecting from government. We wanted government to have responded far ahead of time, and then rather than this time that they are now responding. We are spending about 8 billion Ghana cedis. Planting for Food and Jobs has been in existence for 7 good years. How much did we spend? One village, one dam. How much did we spend? We could have used that to mitigate all these things that are happening. So it's a mixed feeling for me.
Right.
That it's a mixed feeling, and farmers just do not want handouts. That is not what they want. They want a system that will allow them to operate well,
right,
and then to fend for themselves.
Let me go through the measures that the government has outlined to deal with the effects of this drought. I'll start with the handout you're talking about. So, cash transfers to affected farmers. They will be receiving 1,000 cedis per hectare, and this is going to be targeting the most vulnerable among the over 435,000 confirmed affected farmers. What's your view on the cash transfers?
Well, they have only said it. They have also said that they're most vulnerable. They want to know who is the most vulnerable. And whether, if you are sitting in the studio and myself, if we are going to, if we suffer the same fate, then we lose our money. And then they say, oh, we are not the most vulnerable, so we will not be supported. Then come the next season, we are unable to crop. So what then happens? You see, so again, we are still also worried about how they are going to identify the vulnerable. So they know the vulnerable. They know the most vulnerable among the farmers. All these years. Why didn't they target them to get them out? We saw what happened on the Platform for Food and Jobs Phase 1. Where fertilizers were meant for farmers, they were smuggled out. They were given to, people who were not even close to agriculture, farming. So, well, they said they will do it, and we just hope that they will do it. But
okay.
I don't think that it's even adequate, but of course, it's a support.
Let's look at the main response: temporary ban on the export of maize, rice, and soya bean to ensure that these critical crops remain available in the domestic market. What's your view on this?
Again, government is seeking to solicit support from our development partners, both in cash and in kind. And then they've also told us that they will tap into the West African Reserve Fund. So it is just logical that they should place the ban. Because if we don't place the ban, then the likelihood that even what you source from other countries and bring it in could also be re-exported. But it's one thing placing a ban. It's another thing enforcing the ban. I also listened to the Minister of Defense speak at the forum and said that the security will be deployed to assist. The question I ask is, why would the security assist in nipping, stopping crime only at the time of disaster like this? All along, there have been so much smuggling of our goods outside the country. Ghana Cocoa Board is suffering because a large chunk of our cocoa is smuggled out of the country. When we also know it's not because it is Ghana Cocoa Board, but then it is also the fact that cocoa is the mainstay of our economy as well. Yet we have not deployed the security to the fertilizers that have been smuggled out. Where was the security? They didn't see the need for it. Government did not see the need to deploy the security to ensure that this does not happen. I was watching. We want them to really prove that they've been doing it. But if we talk about track record for us to use to judge that they will do this thing properly, of course, there's so much doubt.
Okay. Linked to the ban on exports is also a program to purchase existing stocks from farmers to mitigate the adverse export effects of this export ban. So they are, on one hand, they are banning the export of maize, soybean, and rice. And on the other hand, they are going to purchase existing stock from farmers to mitigate the adverse effects of this export ban. Does it make sense to you?
They shouldn't deceive anybody. Where is Ghana government going to get the money to purchase? Why is it that all these years, when farmers were suffering about their food stocks getting rotten, government was not purchasing? We know about the buffer food stock company. The purpose was to purchase. Why didn't government support them to purchase the food? If all those companies were working well and they had bought food and stock, of course it would have mitigated the problems we have now. But in all this, what role is Ghana buffer stock company going to play? Because we are supposed to have been buying food and stocking it. Where is it? They are not talking about it. It means there is nothing. So again, if government now tells us that, we are going to buy from farmers, where is the money?
Well,
the reasons why they never bought
money, because I'll give you two more initiatives. So the government plans to import up to 300,000 metric tons of maize and 150,000 metric tons of rice by tapping into the ECOWAS Grain Reserve and collaborating with the private sector. Also, the government will import 26,000 metric tons of poultry feed to support the poultry industry, which is also being threatened by the drought. There appears to be money to buy these things.
Yes, and I'm saying that what you see, and these are the areas that government for many years has been focusing on. Why do they focus on? Because these ones you can easily import, and then when you import, we also know that there's so much rot that go with importation. when it comes to government procurement. We know. I mean, this is not a secret anymore. That when it comes to government procurement, it is big opportunity, so they are doing this. But where there is no opportunity, and when government is supposed to have been investing to make sure that this does not happen, and for what has gone where and what has happened.
So for you, this everything is almost like a little too late. Is there any light at the end of the tunnel, or is it?
Well, you see, so, but we have different responsibilities, and we have been failed, and it has come too late, and we are saying that government is saying this is what they want to do until we see it done, and suddenly I don't think that government appears to have the capacity to do what they say efficiently and effectively, because the experience of the past is that government failed woefully in carrying out things of this nature. But then we can only hope that they will do it well. And again, once we have a government, it should lead all of us, and then also collaborate with the proper stakeholders to manage this thing well, so that even if there are infractions, those infractions will be minor ones.
I thank you for your thoughts. Former General Secretary of the Ghana Agricultural Workers Union, Edward Karewe, who is talking to us about his reaction to what government has outlined in the 8 billion cedi agri support to the farmers who are being affected by the droughts in the regions of this country. Well, our own Thelma Taki was in northern Ghana twice in the past 2 weeks to also just go check out what's going on up there. And she's right here on the set. Thelma, are you surprised by what you hear?
I mean, I'm not. My concern over the past 2 or so weeks was, if this should hit the markets, what are we going to do? Because these are predominantly the crops that we rely on. If you love Kenke and Banku like I do, you know that maize is a mainstay. If you love Akpele, you know that maize is it. And even rice farms, granite farms, people who are growing sorghum and the beans, Bambara beans and whatnot, are all complaining because what's the matter? No rains. In Wa, for example, we were at a community called Nakore, and there had not been any rains. We were in a plantation or a huge farm of granuts, about 40-acre farm that had all withered. Wow. So these are seeds that have gone in the ground. The expectation is that the rains would come so that the next stage of the planting could continue. That hadn't happened. We saw maize farms where maize had gone into the ground, waiting for rain so they would apply fertilizer. The rains never came, and so all those acres were also lost. And mind you, these farmers, some of whom have contracted loans, have no means of repaying these loans or even getting some of their monies back. So any suggestion of a government intervention for these farmers is a great help, because if there's drought, then it projects farming in the future. So yeah, in the northern region, it wasn't much different. For 7 to 8 weeks, there had been no rain. The people had, resorted to praying and calling on their creator, the gods of the land, to bless the land with rain. And it was when we arrived on Monday of last week that they got the first rain in after 7 to 8 weeks. So it was an answer to a prayer, but at the same time, did it come too late for them to end? Up north, the rain season ends sometime end of September or early October. So from October to next year or to the following year, June or July, the expectation of rain is almost virtually none. So if they don't make those, they don't put the grains in the ground, if there's no harvest before the October month starts, then there's trouble. And that's what we want to avoid.
What really surprised you about your 2 trips to northern Ghana?
So I am used to buying food from the market. And if you've lived your whole life in Accra like I have, or at least some parts of Accra that I have lived in, to see the link from the farm gate to the market is quite refreshing. And the saddest part for me is that those who are tilling the land, those who are sweating and putting the seeds in the ground and enduring all these things, they get very little at the end of the day because they sell from the farm gate at very moderate prices. By the time it moves from the farm, hits the road and then gets to the market, the prices have doubled, tripled, but the farmers who actually worked to bring these grains to life would not receive much of it. And that's the part that made me really sad, because elsewhere in other countries, you know that agric is the mainstay. You can be a millionaire, a multi-millionaire, just because you engage in farming. But for those that I met in Wa and in Tamale.
Experience with us for your 2 trips that you went to northern Ghana.
Dams would help.
Dams would help.
Dams would help, okay, so that it would guarantee all-round farming. Yes, we did. So I think we went to Bontanga. We saw the Bontanga Dam. They tell us that it's been there since perhaps former President Jerry Rawlings' time, and it serves a lot of communities. So beyond the dam, there are quite a number of farms that rely on the water from there to survive. So the dams would be a big help. But there are some areas where the dams are broken down, like in one community called Duong in the Upper West, the Wa area. The dam had just been flooded last year due to the onset of heavy rains in the area, and it had not been repaired, so they are struggling. So for those that are in areas where rains have come, maybe they'll make some inroads, but where there have been no rains, the challenge persists if there is no dam.
Prevu said it. The president of Imani, Franklin Kujo, also said it. Let us not depend on rains for farming. Do you stamp on that?
Huge stamp. Huge stamp. Right. Because if you're in northern Ghana and you only have rains for 3 months in a year, and we rely on that part of the country for a lot, yams and all the stuff that I've mentioned, then certainly we cannot, especially in an era of climate change, rely on rains to feed our farms. And that's why GBC is partnering with the German embassy in Accra to host these climate talks across the country. We've been to Wa, we've been to Tamale, we'll be going to Kumasi, we'll be going to Takwa, we'll be going to Takrady, just to highlight the importance of bearing climate change in mind whilst we go about our normal duties. We've looked at how it affects agriculture in Wa. We've looked at how climate change should inform the building decisions that we make. So are we using the right materials to ensure that we are keeping the temperatures cooler? Are we building with plastics and stuff that will make the rooms hotter, so we need more energy? And what kind of energy sources are we having? All these conversations GBC is having in partnership with the German embassy. And we hope that our viewers are following the climate talks train and will be hitting the road pretty soon.
Last question. Did you see the black water and the white water even in the plane when you were going?
Because I saw the white water at the far distance. It looked glorious. It looked like water.
We need to harness it, man.
True.
Saba, thank you so much.
Thank you, Cap.
All righty. If you live in those areas of Ghana affected by the dry spells, tell us what's it like. What's it like? Let us know, okay? Send us a message, 055-556-1034. Government outlining 8 billion cedis worth of agri support, including 1,000 cedis per hectare to the farmers, a ban on export of grains, a lot more issues, tapping into the West Africa reserve for the drains. Government will be importing 26,000 metric tons of poultry feed to support the poultry industry. There will be a replanting program providing fast-maturing seeds and fertilizers to farmers whose crops have failed due to the drought. Agric extension officers will be dispatched to train farmers on soil moisture conservation techniques such as mulch and conservation tillage. And all this is happening in the drought.
But Kaf, you see, I don't know. Year in, year out, the Burkinabe authorities open the Bagri Dam. Yeah. Can't we can have this being used?
These are good questions. We'll have a chat with the Ghana Hydrological.
That's right. We should be able to do something about it. And I also think that I see a policy gap, because the way Edward Carrere was speaking, it seems to me that either he does not understand what Ministry of Agric is doing, or Ministry of Agric has not communicated enough. Because he, from where he sits, he sees a lot of things. He knows some of the challenges. So I think that such a person needs to understand what government is doing. So if the authorities at the Ministry of Agric, they have a policy document on what they intend doing, they should be able to put it out there so people like Mr. Edward Carrere would understand it and help in sensitizing and educating farmers on it. And he made a statement on the why the security services intervention as far as export of these
the maize.
Yes, but in times like this, we need it. in times like
his argument was, why didn't they use the security to stop cocoa people from?
Well, this is not to say that they are not using the security, but I think that, you see, we should all be part of the solution. That's what former President Raleigh said. You see, there is no middle way. You can either be part of the problem or part of the solution. Today, let us choose to be part of the solution, so we can solve the problem and move the process forward.
One time. Prof. Bruce, you want to add something to it?
Yeah, I think Ghana, we are wicked towards ourselves.
We are wicked to ourselves?
Yeah. God has given us huge volumes of water.
Black water, white water.
Rivers across us. Why should we be crying over this problem?
A lot of them are
disappointing God.
A lot of them are polluted now.
Yeah.
A lot of the rivers.
So after I agree, polluted waters are needed. It's just something to produce moisture for the soil.
But the pollution will enter the crops.
But when you go to, Akuse Dam,
yes,
across it, there's a town called Togom. I think is it VRA or I don't know. They have produced, they constructed a lot of channels there to release excess water through it for people to farm. But the soil there is clay. It's not good for any or most of this. Can't you sink a huge pipe to the river bed of these rivers and send them miles away for people to connect their pipes to it and use it free? When you go to the southern sector where the water table is low, people are engaging in 24-hour irrigation. You see, they are always producing vegetables from Pute. They are using sprinkler methods to produce types of vegetables. I think if you can help the people in the north, when in 2000, the late Kwasiga, the reason why I like that man was that he opened my eyes to not connect pipe to Akoso, this river water at Soga Copper, through the Accra place to Accra to provide agriculture for people. And I said, wow, this is a brilliant idea. But throughout the time that I was even, may his soul rest in peace anyway, he became a Greek minister. He never irrigated 1 meter of that Accra place that he was accusing of. Like I was trying to go and acquire a portion of it to farm.
But
the irrigation facilities were not provided.
They were not there. What do you grow, by the way?
The Laposta are not mature. The rain has ceased.
What is Laposta?
It's a tall maize plant.
Okay.
The cob is about 500 grains on one cob.
Is that a lot?
Is that a lot? So you'll be tired chewing it. You'll be tired. You'll be tired. But because the reality is that will take just 4 weeks to mature.
One time. Let's use AI to make this happen.
No, but it's a
issues. We'll use AI for the research, and then we'll grow the corn.
You see, but the river at Soga Copper, do you know what Ghana is doing?
No.
They are sinking deep pipes and transporting all that water to Togo free of charge.
Free of charge?
They say you don't have water, so we should give them themselves. So when you go from Soga Copper through the sea area to Togo, they are serious. Biowater is doing that now.
Wow.
What has happened to our importing rice right now? Why are we wicked towards ourselves like this?
There are more questions than answers.
I want you to play this song.
Which one?
Raskimono, Under Pressure.
Under Pressure. So we will know that for you. Raskimono, Under Pressure for Prof. Bruce. Raskimono, Under Pressure for Under Pressure. No, we'll drop Raskimono, don't worry. Consider it done. All right. Some questions, some comments.
455-55-610-34. Keep your language short so we'll read the opinions, not the opinions of GBC. Good morning. My name is Francis. I support the ban on grain exports. It can help reduce prices and inflation. Some bullet points for us: ensures food security, supports local farmers, and the export of yams to Europe has led to a surge in prices, making them unaffordable to many. This is what Francis says on our screen. Hi BFS, Mickey Darling from Ashanti. We still spend billions of dollars to do better to become CEO of a Boise Beach Resort. He wants to be part of the solution and he wants some contracts. So he's using this platform to call for ended up with 4 years of doomsday, contracted some politics there. So he's better than the Mahama-led administration on all indicators.
That's not what we're talking about.
Thank you for sending me. What are they using their budget for? Kwame.
Call NCC and give them a chance.
Thoughts and what's the NDC?
I'm saying notes, the black one, I think. The black one, I think. In order, we have the Pra River, 180 kilometers, also known as Gala gold mining activities leading to mercury in it. You have arsenic in it. You have about top 5 rivers. 4 of them have Mr. Galamsey swept the
Eastern region,
yeah.
Ashanti region. So we should be able to do something about it.
And so I was really happy to find out that Otufo has distilled some chiefs over Galamsey. Asante Hini has distilled the Jase Hini and the Achami Hini and Bermu Hini of Sabronum, stripping them of their titles and responsibilities. The action was taken during the Asanteman Council meeting on August 26 at Nesha. The distillment is a direct result of the trio's involvement in Galamsey, a practice that has plagued the region and drawn widespread condemnation. So Asanteman Council has been under pressure to take decisive action against those involved in the practice. And so following the distillment in New Sabronum Mahine, Kofi Asante has been nominated and he's selected to take the reins. So it has sparked mixed reactions. Some are hailing Otufo's decision as a bold move, while others have expressed concerns about the potential consequences for the affected individuals and their families. Can you believe it?
No, you see, such people I disagree with them. You see, come on. I think we said we need partnership with chiefs for governance.
Yeah.
Chiefs are taking bold actions, and we are complaining. And I commend Otufo for this action. All other chiefs should follow suit. Eastern region, Western region, follow suit. If you get any of your sub-chiefs engaged in Galamsey, crack the whip.
Sack him.
Well, if it is sacking, I don't want to say sacking because I don't know.
When they distill, they sack you.
So just find a way of dealing with a person.
When you are distilled, you've been sacked.
You've been sacked. But then you see, help government. Help government. If government is not cracking them, crack the whip from the other side. And I would expect that now that the Otufo has distilled some people, and the evidence is clear to Asanteman, this evidence should be handed over to the powers that be, and on the basis of that, prosecute these people. I want to see action on the other side. Now the traditional authorities are taking action. The powers that be should also take action on the basis of the evidence gathered by our Asanteman Council, based on which they distilled the chiefs. Once we do this, it will serve as a strong deterrent warning to others to prevent them from going through that. It's not good. The way Galamsey is killing us, and not only the present generation, the future generation.
Yeah.
It is destroying our future.
There's a story about cleft lip, page 11, today's Ghanaian daily graphic. So that's when you have a division in your lip. So health experts have warned that Ghana risks having more children being born with cleft lip and palate, as heavy metals used in Galamsey have polluted many drinking water sources. So the CEO of Kolebu Teaching Hospital, Dr. Opukuware Ampoma, sounded the warning. You know, he's a surgeon, so he knows what he's talking about with all these issues. He says the water bodies must be free of contamination. Cleft lips are caused by a number of factors, genetic factors and environmental factors. So he says the environmental factors, we know that heavy metal contamination or some of the substances that are used in illegal mining can cause birth defects. So yeah, so it's a split opening in the roof of the mouth, and it's a congenital disease, happens in the womb. 1 in every 1,000 children have the abnormality. 1 in every 1,000. So
it's not good.
This is crazy.
You see, we should understand that the definition of sustainable development is the ability of the present generation to use the available natural resources to meet their developmental needs and lay the foundation for the future Ghanaian to also meet their developmental needs. So you don't meet your needs by destroying the future of Ghana.
Maybe so. Professor.
Yeah. I just want to support. I fell in love with the town. I said to myself, I wish I came from that town.
You fell in love with the river?
The town and the river.
Okay, both of them.
Yeah, I said to myself, I wish I came from that town so that I can do...
Describe the water to us. What was it like? What was the water like?
Oh, it was fresh and very beautiful.
Like a woman?
You can drink it.
Like a woman?
Yeah.
It was fresh and beautiful?
Yeah, fresh.
Yeah, no, fresh. I appreciate beauty, don't you?
So but now when you see River Pra,
what does it look like now?
You will hate it.
I'll hate it, eh?
And it affected the sea at Shama.
Yeah.
They cannot go to fishing. The chiefs in the sea, they are run away because of Galamsey. The fishermen there, they have lost their livelihood.
Big time.
Big time. Big time.
What would you do if you were president?
I have to protect the God-given land. We have to care for God's creation. God's creation is under threat. And if you destroy it, we'll suffer the punishment.
What would you do, Prof?
What will I do?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I have to protect God's creation, the rivers and all that. Those people who do not care, they become our enemies.
One time.
Really?
Will it be drastic?
Very drastic. Because I'll have to fight. Why do you say you're a Christian soldier?
Marching.
Christian soldiers, they are fighting to care for God's creation.
One time.
If you are defecating in the river, I have to equip you.
Big time.
When I was going to Jehovah and I saw River Ankroba, I wanted to jump into it. But now when you see River Ankroba, very nasty to look at. And these are the actions of human beings.
So we need to
you see,
action.
people who engage in that, when we come to definition of intelligence, we say they are operating at that sub-intelligent level.
Sub-intelligent,
yes.
underground.
Sub-average. The intelligence level is not up to even average, it's sub-average intellectual functioning. Because they cannot predict the effect of the action they engage now and future.
Finally, is there hope for somebody who's operating at that sub?
There's no hope.
Oof. Wow.
That's why those people, you have to separate them from the society.
Drastic, Prof. Bruce, if you were president. Thank you so much. Prof. Bruce, thank you, Dr. Eric Osai. We'll try and get you under pressure for your kimono.
Okay.
But I just want to alert you before I leave that today marks the 61st anniversary of the passing of W.E.B. Du Bois, who was a pioneering American sociologist, historian, and civil rights activist. She was born in 1860, movement advocating for full civil rights and political people in 1909. And he used his platform to combat racism, particularly through his writings and editorial work for the Crisis Journal. He was a proponent of Pan-Africanism and organized several Pan-African congresses advocating for the independence of African colonies. His seminal works, including The Souls of Black Folk and Black Reconstruction in America, are key texts in African-American literature and history. Later in life, Du Bois embraced socialism and spent the final years in the Republic of Ghana, where he passed away on this day, August 27, in 1963. Throughout his life, he critiqued capitalism, viewing it as a root cause of racism. There will be a wreath-laying sermon at GTV. So may he rest in perfect peace. W.E.B. Du Bois died on this day in 1963, 61 years ago. GTV Breakfast is out. Sports is coming in. Don't go anywhere.
GTV Breakfast. Kiddy and Black Sheriff putting us all in a very lomo mood this morning. Just before that, we heard Raskimono under pressure everywhere. And on this segment, we are putting the pressure on the NDC's manifesto and its promises for the sports world. It's promised to implement some far-reaching policies to restore Ghana to the ranks of other elite sport or great nations. England will not forgive me if I don't say England. So England is also part, okay? Elite sports nations. But what's the track and how are we leading up to that? So the manifesto is behind me. I'll talk you through some of what the NDC has said, and then I'll engage my guests and we'll find some more detail to what they're saying. So we were once, of course, a huge global force when it comes to competitions, especially with football, and we've won the African Cup of Nations, not in my lifetime, but in other lifetimes. So as long as I've been alive, we haven't won the African Cup, but we won it before, and others have now overtaken us. So we're now at a point where situation, that's what I'm about to tell you from the NDC's 2024 manifesto. The party says they will focus on system infrastructure, sporting talent and human resource, sports governance and administration, ethics, lifelong participation and inclusivity, sports for economic and social development, and also a framework for implementing the Africa Union Sports Agenda 2063. It may seem like a long way off, but they will be looking at that in some detail. SDG sports-related goals will also be a focus. And the party has also promised to support the development of Colts Division 1 and 2 and the Ghana Premier League. They want to augment the salaries of all registered footballers with allowances. So apart from what the clubs are paying them, they also want to bring some allowances to them as well. NDC also intends to undertake emergency refurbishment of the pitches, which have come under much attack in recent times, tracks and other facilities at our national stadium in Accra, Kumasi, Tamale, Cape Coast and Second D to meet FIFA standards. And they want to also establish a national standard stadium in all regions. So lots of intention to go into sports infrastructure in the NDC manifesto. They also want to build more multi-purpose sports facilities. So if you go to a stadium, it's not just one sport that you can do there, you can do other things. That's why we have some stadiums that do tracks, we have some that beyond football, they have arenas for boxing and what have you. They intend to build more of these multi-purpose sports facilities and also ensure equitable investment in the other national teams, not just the Black Stars. They want to upgrade the University of Education Winneba Sports College into a modern sports university, and this is something we've seen in other countries where universities are solely dedicated to sports and sporting courses. So they intend to do that in Ghana, as well as establishing a sports center of excellence in the northern, middle and southern zones in collaboration with existing universities and the private sector. They want to support athletes so that they can consistently compete in international tournaments and events as well. It sounds like there's a lot to expect when we sit down with our guests, as I seek to get more details. They also offer some scholarships to promising sports talents and invest in the establishment of sports academics in partnership with the private sector. And the party also intends to support retired sporting personalities so that we don't have the scenes where some of them come asking for help years after they've held the flag of Ghana, and they've kept us all very happy and very proud with their work. I'll go to the table now and introduce my guests at the table to help us with this conversation. Dr. Fred Ewa is the NDC spokesperson on sports, and he'll be sharing some perspectives with us. Doc, thank you for making the time, and welcome back to GTV Breakfast.
Thank you.
Of course, I can't do this alone. I have some seasoned sports journalists. Veronica Kwame and Jerome Otri will be helping to steer this boat to calm, safe waters. Ladies and gentlemen, Vero and Jerome, thank you for making the time. Sports conversation, when we say sports in Ghana, our hearts immediately go to football. And the NDC is saying that beyond football, it wants to make sure that in other sporting disciplines, the country excels as well. I'll start with you, Mr. Fred. I've gone through some of the highlights. Which ones stand out for you, for the plans the NDC wants to bring? And then I'll bring the sports journalists in to get some perspectives on what the plan is.
Well, clearly so, as a political party, we are committed to all of the 10 thematic provisions that are captured within the framework of the manifesto. But I do think that it is fair that we start them in the order in which they were presented in the manifesto. So we may want to look at point number 1, the issue of augmenting the salaries of registered players with allowances. Now, there is an antecedent to establish that Ghana has been the beacon of hope for for Africa's sports over time. Now, you recall that clearly His Excellency John Dramani Mahama has been touting the issue of building the Black Stars around local talents. Now, building the Black Stars around local talents clearly would also mean that there must be an investment in the local talents. The cry of many sports enthusiasts, especially those who love football, has been that the local league is very weak. Now, to improve the local league, it has nothing to, it doesn't have to do so much with issues of buses. It has to do with human resource. And the human resource clearly here are the football players. I just want to throw a question to all of us. If you are not satisfied, if you don't eat well, are you going to be going to be able to do the work that you do here? Clearly not. So that is the current situation.
So allowances is the first one on the list. So let me go to the sports journalist. How big is this problem in the football circles? And is there a database of registered footballers? Because I'm trying to figure out how we'll figure out who to pay and who not to pay. Is this a huge problem?
You know, from my point of view, it is not the duty of any government to pay players in any private sector. The football clubs belong to individuals. Imagine having a government deciding that we just want to assist in providing allowances for a private organization. If you compare our leagues, it is the same as the Man United, Arsenal, and whatever you find globally. These are for individuals, except they do it better. So you have them having their own stadium and all that. The duty of a government, I'm afraid, is to make sure that they are providing the enabling environment to make sure that football is thriving. Having stadia, ensuring that the rules and regulations are working, there is fair play. Create the environment that ensures that there are players coming through the juveniles, making sure that when players are injured, there is a place they could go to subsidized so that they get treated without coughing so much, but not really to support in terms of financing. Every now and then you have a lot of players coming through from Cole's First Division, the lower tiers, right up to the league. I'm afraid that when you focus on trying to provide allowances, it's a sort of a misplaced priority for me.
Right.
Because when football used to be great and we go to the stadium and all that, people will talk about star attraction and all that. These days what they say is because remuneration is not so great, someone will play a season and they are gone. It happens everywhere. Players are moving every day. You like that they go and pursue their careers out there. It's not just star attraction. We are in a country that for so long there is no title sponsor for the league. If a club wins the league, you are getting around $30,000. That is sad. But we spend all our resources just pleasing the Black Stars, even at the detriment of all the national team. So I'm saying that it is great to want to build on human resource or human capital. I am really for all of that, even compared to getting buses for all that. Last week I was here and I was telling you that it is not a very important thing to do if you want to develop football. And I'm afraid this also looks the same.
Right.
Do not invest in the private, because when they sell their players, the individuals, the monies come to them. The FA stands a chance because if I have a team now and I transfer a player, the money comes to the club.
Yeah, but
why is the government
if you're working and there's some allowances coming, that's certainly good.
No,
but
the government can promote football in a way without trying to support with allowances.
Okay, so there are other items on the list there, and we'll get to some of them in a bit more detail. Jerome, Veronica thinks, not what we need. Invest in the infrastructure and leave the private people to run their business as they are.
I side with her. Because you see,
if there are swimming clubs, would government also pay the swimmers of those clubs that are owned by individuals? If there are boxing clubs, will you pay, the boxers? If there are athletics clubs, will you do same? The problem with the promise number 1 is to do with looking at the roof instead of tackling the base on which the roof stands. I have no apology in saying this. Our clubs are badly run. Premier League clubs in Ghana, majority of them are run on nothing. Even the big ones. They are struggling to set up. Kotoko has run an IMT for a whole year with no clear vision.
An interim management team?
Yes, which, even per the FA's own rules, this season, they must not go that way. Hasselfolk have had problems with setting up managerially. Others do not even have management. Some do not even have recognized officers. So if you pick just one item or just one of their problems to say you pay their salaries, I would rather ask you to look at how they are set up.
They don't say salaries, they say allowances for registered footballers.
That is fine. So registered footballers, if we are taking Premier League clubs,
footballers
maybe 30
are registered?
Maximum 30.
In total. So if
for a club, 30.
For one club is 30 times 18 clubs.
And I'll ask Dr. Awad this. Is it footballers across the various divisions or just the Premier League?
The Premier League. Okay. And maybe I need to say something a little about
it. Let Jerome finish and then we'll have your comment.
So my point is, once there are fundamental challenges with how clubs are being run, I would rather be interested in making sure they are properly set up, making sure administratively they are sound, before you think of giving them allowances. Because if care is not taken, the allowances will even go to wrong places.
So put the structures in place.
Yes.
That's how what Veronica and Jerome seem to be on the same page when it comes to this. They think that the focus really should not be on putting the monies into private hands. It should be on ensuring that the private hands are doing the right things, and that if you put monies there, they may vanish.
All right, so clearly we need to respect the opinions of others, but we as a political party got to this conclusion realizing that governance is about prioritization. Now, it is not always that government has to put funds in only public-related sectors. Government sometimes provides stimulus to an industry, maybe private, but has prospects for the development of the country. It is to be noted that the sports sector alone contributes 1.4% to Ghana's GDP. Globally, the sports sector contributes 2% to the global GDP of the world, meaning that Ghana, we have what? We are close to getting to the global benchmark of 2% for ourselves. This would then mean that if we invest in the human resource, the sportsmen, the sports persons, who then would play and then create a good Premier League, it gives them more visibility. This visibility attracts foreign investment for them because they get to play in other clubs. Remittances come into the country, and gradually we are getting an enhanced GDP. So I feel that much as is the private sector, the deep thinking that went into this is that footballers, most of them take as low as 300 Ghana cedis at the end of the month. Now ask yourself why there is player exodus to places like Togo, Kosovo, Tanzania, and Egypt from a great country like Ghana. It is because the conditions of playing are what? Relatively minimal. There are instances where Premier League clubs do not even have salaries, nothing to take at the end of the month. And for us as a country, sports has always been the heartbeat of Ghana, and we want to prioritize it. Now we have to go a bit into the history of soccer in the country and how NDC has been able to bring glories to our country. What we are doing is not out of place. It is hinged on the fact that anytime you hear of past glories of Ghana, it's hinged on initiatives of the National Democratic Congress. It is of an established fact, and the journalists are here, that Ghana won 4 African Cups of Nations. Of all of the 4, there is none that is attributable to the NPP. The 1982.
The NPP and the NDC are not football clubs. The Black Stars, which are beloved by Ghanaians,
correct,
are the ones who win these cups for us.
Clearly
so
it's
why is party credit important in national laurels?
No, usually it is as a result of the management and investments that get into what these soccer clubs, national teams. So if you have a tendencies usually are that efforts towards building these national teams is important for national cohesion. When there are black starless or under 17 matches, we don't talk NDC NPP, we talk Ghana.
Now you are bringing the NDC NPP card to this football pitch.
Clearly so, because our regimes have established a lot of laurels for Ghana, World Cup, under 17, all of the
other stuff, not just the Black Stars. And again, the fixation with just football at the expense of, I mean, why are we not in gymnastics? Why do we have regatta in Cape Coast and we cannot compete with some of this canoeing and stuff? I mean, Veronica and Jerome would understand the technicalities better.
Technically true.
The men have the muscles, they do regatta in Cape Coast. We can't do canoeing and cycling. Why not support these little or less known sports to also raise them to the standard of football instead of, again, pumping more money into, and I love the Black Stars. I think everyone knows that on DTV Breakfast we are Black Stars people. But the fixation on football alone, it's loud.
Yeah, we'll open up that conversation. Now, clearly, every nation has its heartbeat. You go to different countries, and there are things that endears to the people. There are provisions for other sports within the last 9, which makes the complete set of.
So we've done this registered footballers. I don't know how many registered footballers we have in Ghana. Perhaps the sports journalist will tell us. An emergency refurbishment of pitches, tracks, and other facilities at the stadiums. What's the state of our pitches now generally?
They are bad. As we speak, Ghana is laboring, or is it struggling to get FIFA and CAF to certify Zabayara, for instance, to host Ghana versus Angola next week. So generally they are bad.
What boxes?
Changing rooms, the lights, the media facilities. I mean, there are critical ones, and these are the ones I'm mentioning.
Lounge.
Yes. But basically, if you pick all our sports infrastructure, they are all in shambles. I mean, there isn't one that meets the standard that FIFA...
Not one?
Not one.
Not Accra, not Kumasi, not Tamale, not Cape Coast, not Second D?
None. No, Second D is in total shambles. You don't even have to mention it. So in terms of infrastructure, and I have been looking at the 10-point promises of the NDC, and I was close to the realistic ones, in the sense that when you have virtually all your sports infrastructure not meeting international standards, the refurbishment of such infrastructure should be immediate. So I like the word you used there, emergency, because Accra Sports Stadium cannot host Black Stars as we speak. So if you have the opportunity to lead Ghana, you must look at how Accra Sports Stadium, I mean...
The Kumasi crowd is something else.
Yes.
But Accra, what do we do?
Yes, so I like that point. There must be some meet international standards.
Have the presence of AstroTurfs helped the state of the pitches in any way?
It doesn't. I mean, it hasn't, in the sense that a lot of the development of these pitches I have seen also do not meet the required standards. And that's a problem. See, they are littered across the country. Maybe it's a plus that we want to have these artificial pitches. But if they are not done in a manner that meets even your local standards, they are better not there. And sometimes when you say this, people don't believe it. We have one at Medina, and to see whether it can be used for Ghana Premier League matches. After their checks, they said, no, we can't use it. Per what they saw.
Per the guidelines that they have.
And I'm saying that it's such a big problem if you are building artificial turfs, which, I mean, can be sited probably anywhere, and you do not look at what it is that must be considered.
So on the screens now is a Tamale Stadium in northern region, and it does not look like it's in very, very good shape. So Yeah, those are some of the concerns that we are expressing. Meeting international standards, and point 3 also talks about that. Pursuing a long-standing policy of establishing international standard stadia in all the regions. These were all built to meet certain standards, but it is because our maintenance culture, I dare say, has not helped to maintain, to keep this place together, to keep these places running as they should be. That's why we are where we are. So if we don't fix that culture of non-maintenance, then no new emergency what will thrive if Accra, Kumasi, Sekondi, and Cape Coast and all that have already crumbled.
It's important, or it will be nice if we had a lot of stadium in other places.
In every region?
I'm not too sure if we need it in every region. Because when you look at white elephants, because football at that region may not be really up there. You won't have a lot of maybe Premier League clubs or Division 1 league clubs that will utilize the stadium. So in the end, you may not simply need it.
And we saw this in Sekondi and Cape Coast. When the Sekondi and Cape Coast teams did not make the Premier League, those facilities were almost, for a long time.
Also because we were quite not thinking outside the box. It was just a matter of letting the National Sports Authority manage it, find a way to generate a little revenue here and there. It doesn't have to be just football, except that around here, when they rent it out to churches, when they rent it out for concerts and all that, they do not even see the need to cover the pitches. It is why you see our pitches looking like rice farms everywhere. Isn't it embarrassing that we call ourselves a football nation, a sports nation, and we do not have one single standard pitch in the country today? We are a few days away from playing a qualifier, and we don't even know where
we don't have a venue.
Yes, we will play.
We might have to travel out of the country.
And to be so embarrassing. And if that is the embarrassment we need for us to have a look into exactly what we should do, then so be it. I am thinking that the politicians, ride on the fact that we like sports and it unites us, and they throw things our way just to get people excited. I'm saying that we are also part of the stakeholders. We care about football thriving or sports thriving. When it does, it solves a lot of problems, or it cures a lot of problems for a lot of people. And it's important that they pay attention to the right one. I am all for having an extra stadium or two, but I will say that let's focus our energies on improving the ones that we have. The stadia in Tamale, Accra, Kumasi, and where else? Cape Coast were all built 2008 under President Kufuor, isn't it? The NDC added that of Cape Coast. Even that one that is supposed to be new is in ruin. If we can just focus our attention on bringing these up, it will be enough to serve our national teams, and maybe focus a little more on developing parks and pitches around cities that you have a lot of football activities. You would say that when you check around the country, there won't be, if you want to gauge it, football will be more popular, or you have more teams emerging up in certain areas. Focus on those areas, and the other aspects of the countries that have other interests in sports, develop it. We don't have to have pitches everywhere or have the same standard everywhere. I do think that the AstroTurf idea was more emotional than realistic, because the excuse was that we are trying to ensure that communities can play football and all that. But it's even prices out to the ordinary Ghanaian, because the Medina one that Jerome referred to a few weeks ago, my friends wanted to play there, and they had to pay 200 cedis.
Some areas charge 300 cedis for 30 minutes.
Yeah, for 30 minutes and more. So it is not a realistic way of developing football. And I would like to tell the NDC that, what we have seen with AstroTurf and a few others did not quite help with our development of football. We could even look at all the multi-purpose centers that are built around by this present government. They are all in shambles. The NDC says that when we are in power, we want to build a few more. I am saying that pay attention, ensuring that the existing ones are up to speed, because they are abandoned as we speak at this moment. And whether you inherit it from the present government or not,
Ghanaian.
It is Ghanaian.
So let Dr. Awa take a bite on that.
So government bringing it up to standard, that would be good enough.
So government is continuity.
Correct.
Government must be continuity.
Clearly so.
And what is started in one regime should not be truncated when another regime takes over. So we've done the African Games, and of course the stories are flying around about what happened and what did not happen, what was paid and what was not paid. But the facilities, the structural ones, they are still there.
Yes.
Boteman is still there, something that your good friends from the other side take a lot of pride in. The University of Ghana stadium that was used also for the African Games is also quite there. Vero and Jerome are saying there are some structures already there. Pick on those ones and let's build it. And once we're talking about developing other sports, what's the plan really for developing, and you say the heart of the nation is football, developing football at the grassroots? What's the plan? Is there somebody, a young man in Ghana, who can give me the David Beckham story? That I grew up watching Manchester United as a kid, and I grew up and I've got to work with Sir Alex Ferguson. Who has that story to tell? Those are the things we want to hear from the future, Kudus and the other players coming up in Ghana. What actually is the plan?
Okay, thank you so much. I think I should thank my colleagues for endorsing point number 2, the issue of undertaking emergency refurbishment of the pitches. Clearly, so we'll prioritize it when we come to power by God's grace in the first quarter of 2025. Now, on the issue of point number 3, pursue our long-standing policy of establishing international standard stadium in all the regions. I do agree with both of them, together with you, that if there are existing stadium projects that are consistent with the demarcations we have already made, we don't need to start right from the scratch. But the reality is this: we have had 6 more regions being created. We run a policy of decentralization. Now, every individual within the nook and cranny of Ghana is supposed to benefit from the kitty of the state. So if there are no stadia at all in these new regions, I don't think it would be prudent for any government going in to add or concentrate on a project that has been started that will help, that will contribute to an existing project in a specific region.
But what Veronica and Jerome are saying is, if you put a stadium in Region A where there's very little football activity, chances are that stadium will become the next Esipon or the next Sekendini.
I'm yet to hear of any region in Ghana where there's total negligence of soccer. See, I was born in Accra. Football is a big thing in Accra.
This is Esipon now.
Yeah.
This is Esipon now.
No, clearly so. I'm just talking. I'm making reference to your orientation about what if you go and put it in a destination where football is minimal. I do not think there are such regions in Ghana. But your argument may be this: that if you want to build new stadia, you should prioritize first giving to places that tendencies are that the usage or usability will be higher. That NDC accepts. But to say that there should be just refurbishment like point 2, which we all agree, we do think that decentralization is about taking development to the people. So beyond the existing regions, the new regions also have...
If we have 16 regional stadiums, and none of them meet FIFA standards.
But clearly so, quality is a product of the NDC. That's why we are clearly indicating that we're trying to establish, for those that already exist, we are going to upgrade them to FIFA standards. And for the new ones, it is a long-term orientation. These provisions to let the sports fraternity understand that this is part of the heartbeat of the National Democratic Congress. Just go back to our 2020 manifesto. Even in there, these same promises were made. It is just to tell you that we have considered the desires of the people of Ghana, the feasibility that this would help improve our local league, and tendencies that would inure to the player who will be exported and then bring foreign exchange.
I still haven't heard the plans for developing the young talent.
Just a minute. Doc, what we are saying is that it is pleasing to hear that my mother, who comes from the Western region, maybe we will get a stadium there, maybe at BNA. It is pleasing. But when you check the records, How many teams from that region are playing in the Premier League? A host of them are playing in the First Division. What I am saying is that it would serve them better if we have community pitches that you get a lot of players playing on. Because even in Accra, Hasselhoek, Olympics and others are struggling to pay for the usage of the Accra Sports Stadium. Kotoko complains. When Sekondi Hazakis and Wise at some point emerged from the one that they could use in Sekondi, paying to use it is even a problem. So let's look at the basics, where accessibility means that people at the lower tier can still pay and use this, or kids in school and others have that kind of accessibility, than just trying to, you know, I know politicians, they like to please the masses that, oh, we built the gallery. They built this stadium. Say it's nice to want to win an election or stay in power, but to develop, it should really be for the people to have the effects. And that is the point I am driving at, that I feel that perhaps it would be nice to have this stadium. What would serve the communities, the regions, the new creation? It's not just a stadium.
You see, let me give you an example. Axim. There is one of the youth centers at Axim, but it's been abandoned. Wasn't completed. Even if it was completed, nothing has happened there, and it's in ruins. So if you are giving the people of Axim that facility, if I come from there, I'll be happy. But is it in use as we speak? No. What is the state? The state is that it is in ruins. Isn't it therefore a problem to think of creating yet another youth center somewhere else, when the one that, I mean, those that you've built, some of them are not completed, those that were completed are also, I mean, have been left to the elements, you know. But you see, there's a critical point. Maybe we'll go there. The five, since we are talking about
the turning the University of equitable investments in other national teams is a critical point for you?
For me, in fact, there are three.
So we talked about women's football teams, para sports teams, juvenile teams, and the lesser known sports. That's point 5.
You know why it's critical? We spent so much on Black Stars. The last 2 AFCONs that we have played, how many games did the Black Stars win? Of the 6 or so matches they played? None. Yet, by conservative figures I know, each player was paid around $40,000 for not winning a game. It doesn't happen anywhere. The Black Queens, however, play their qualifiers, win their matches, and they have to beg to be paid their bonuses. Where does it happen? The US, as we speak, if today the Black Queens qualify for the Women's World Cup, there is every chance that if they will do well, they are likely to meet the US national team. The US national team, as we speak, the female national team, earn equal pay with the men. But in Ghana, we are not even asking for equal pay. The little that is to be paid the Black Queens doesn't even
So
count.
you endorse point 5?
Yes, I will.
Equitable investment in other national teams.
It's very important. And even go to the point of point 6.
Do we need a sports college at the University of Education Winneba?
Let me show you why. As we speak, the University of Education Winneba doesn't have a playing surface. We are developing athletes, we are developing sports administrators, we are teaching people what sports development is. If it comes to the practicals, assuming you want to take coaches to the field and show them how coaching is on the field of play,
you have to employ AI.
there is none at Winneba.
We use virtual pitches.
The one that is there is not to any standard. Yesterday I said somewhere that the pitch in my hometown is better than that sports college pitch, because if it rains, you can't even play. So I say to be more realistic, if a would-be government, I mean, should they win, promises that, look, we will look at Winneba, the sports college, and see how we can put it in a state that can help sports development. My last point, because we are talking about facilities in the regions, doesn't it prick anybody's conscience that in terms of sports infrastructure, even if we are saying what we have is the best, all of them are sited down south. So if the NDC says, and I think that is point number 7.
It says though it will establish sports centers of excellence in the northern, middle, and southern zones in collaboration with existing universities and the private sector.
If you count northern region, northeast, the Bono and the Ahafo regions, we have about 4 or 5 regions going beyond Kumasi or going beyond Ashanti. And you can speak of only one facility that you would say comes close to an international one, the Tamale Stadium. So I find it a little more realistic, or it addresses a present problem, a need. Because in the whole of the Bono and Ahafo regions, there is no facility.
There's none.
Yes, there's none. And now we have Northeast. I'm not sure there is any there. Tamale has one that is in a state of, ruins. So it is also a critical need.
Okay.
And I think that what our political parties should be doing, in this case the NDC should be doing, is not just listing promises or giving us promises, but look at what the sports industry is really grappling with and provide solutions to them. So for instance, don't tell me you will build new facilities anywhere. Just give me a plan that can maintain the 5 or 6 that we have. A plan that will wean Black Stars off the millions of dollars and give some of the thousands of dollars to the other teams. You know, if we don't do that and we keep putting money, see, we played 4 World Cups since 2006. Again, by conservative numbers, FIFA has given Ghana well over $40 million. It is only yesterday that I saw the FA putting up a story that the funds they had from Qatar World Cup is going to be used to build a complex at Pram Pram. 4 World Cups. We are now thinking of putting money into something.
Yeah.
And you might say, oh, that's the FA. Yes, but government controls senior national team. I mean, all our national teams.
No, the FA is supposed to be independent.
Yes, but when it comes to the management of the all the national teams, it is the preserve of the Black Stars in consultation or in conjunction with the FA. So some of the promises for me speak to some needs.
Okay.
Others, I will not.
So I hear an endorsement for turning the sports college into a university. I hear an endorsement for the establishment of sports centers of excellence across the country and more focus on maintaining the already existing infrastructure. We'll talk about support for the national athletes and then the scholarship promises and also the staff to support retirees. A quick one from Veronica. I want to take some messages.
Before you move on from that, yes, I like the idea of investing in the Winneba Sports Complex, the equitable distribution of, it's something we have spoken about. But I want to know, with which funding? The 2020 manifesto of the NDC said they were going to have create a fund for sports. Yeah. With which funding?
Okay, Dr.
We are in a country that we know we are broke.
Let Dr.
I need the funding, I need the timelines so that we can hold them to something.
Okay,
it's not just a question of promises. Okay. It's so important that we know of the funding and the timelines.
So I'll encourage you to send the messages to us now. Kaf is at the screen. We'll be taking some of your thoughts, perhaps questions to Dr. Awal here, 055-55-61034. Dr. Awal, Nasikano, where's the money for all this?
Nasikano, big question. But before I respond to the issues of the funding, I just want to commend my colleagues here. It does appear we are speaking the same language, but the orientation just seems to be different. You know, for every manifesto, you have what we call the implementation plan. The implementation plan details the dictates of the 10 bullets that you have seen here. Okay. And most of these issues, especially those related to my sister, you know, the National Democratic Congress is a listening party. We don't claim being the repository of knowledge. Much as we want development that suits the people. So the issues of the parks, my sister, they are considered, and you would see. Now, to the issues of money. You realize that in our 2020 manifesto, we proposed the Sports Development Fund. I don't know whether...
That's the one I was referring to.
Clearly so. Clearly so, yeah. And we haven't left it.
But it's not in this one.
Oh,
it's the current one.
Oh, it's not in the process. You see, no, we haven't abandoned it. The reality is that there is a process. Okay, so the Sports Development Fund has become a national discourse. So Parliament is considering, both political parties want it. It's not related only to NDC. So this is an issue that is likely that, although the conversation started in 2020, by the time, by God's grace, by the time we would come to power.
So for now, where will the money come from for all these 10 points?
Oh, well, so issues of funding are issues of are related to administration. I'm not sure you expect me to go deep into the implementation plan, but the reality is this. Governance is about putting priorities on sectors of the economy depending on the timing. And we as a socialist-oriented political party are putting our money in sports, knowing the prospects that sports brings to a nation. So that is what I can say for now.
Right.
Yeah, all right.
Cap, sports on the ballot, the NDC's plan, what are our viewers saying?
Okay, so if the policies can be available, then a qualified non-political retired footballer should manage our football administration of the country. Anything other than that, let's just forget it. This is from Baba Aguero Sule of Cape Coast.
Do we have a non-political footballer?
Retired footballer. Football needs to be spread all over the country. It's not just Accra and Kumasi alone. It's another.
Okay.
Someone is enjoying the conversations, brilliant ideas from Veronica and the gentleman. And they should save their energy. It won't happen. So there's a lot of just apathy. How do you convert the National Sports College into a university? There's already an already established sports department right opposite. In my opinion, merging the two with different ramifications of objectives. So is that, did that come up?
Yep. So the University of Education, Winneba, the suggestion by the NDC to convert the sports college into a university. Someone says, well, it's already in a university. It's
about the conversion.
Are you going to move it
how
from
you
there?
empower them?
Yes.
It's about getting the right curriculum. The trophies we won in the past in football, most of these coaches went through that institute, Winneba. It's no longer the case. So it used to be a great hub. When the Starlets and Satellites used to do well on the global scene, they used to come there. We do not have a worthy pitch there today. So there is a lot we need to do. And that will be the backbone for human resource. It's very, very important. Without a human resource, you are developing nothing. The pitches and everything are good, but you need physiotherapies, you need psychologists, you need everything. And this is an institution that is able to do so. I think all of this will be cured by a policy. One strong policy, if it's for sports in general or football, because that would address the fact that some players or athletes in universities have no integration because we don't have a systematic plan for them, and once you get out of school, you can't play the local league and school.
And we know sportsmen and women who have started from secondary school.
So a policy, I would say that they should consider a policy, one major policy, because that will address all of these and ensure that wherever you find yourself, whether you are a COBOLO, a school dropout, or a student, there is one integration that pushes all the way for everybody.
Jerome, your last comment, just a minute. I'll give you the final word, Dr. Wow, so that you wrap this up for me.
A lot of these things are said, but once they win power, it becomes a different story. I will ask for the will, the commitment to do it. Today you are campaigning, so you throw the promises out there. Some of us are seeing wisdom in some of the things that are being promised. They should keep to their word, because at the end of the day, that's what will matter.
Right. Dr. Wow, your final word.
Timelines. Add timelines, sir.
Well, clearly so. I want to thank the panelists for seeing wisdom in what we are bringing into the sports sector in our country, Ghana. And clearly so, with the discussions we've had here, clearly we have seen those that will be of priority to Ghanaians. Although we have an implementation plan, this will further guide the execution.
Please pen this in. That's the one who's in charge of the pensions for the ex-athletes should be a non-political retired footballer.
All right, clearly so. Soccer administration it's not limited to the scale. it has to also do with managing human resources. So much as we think that the point is valid, there are other considerations. Is that the? Is
yes,
that the?
We'll have
so so my last words. I want to tell the Zango community. Zango National Democratic Congress, which is bamu karfin da ya kamata mu zo mu duba Ghana by the year 2025 mun tanye football mun tanye boxing mun tanye abinda duka ya bar boxing je gaba ntaba fa man kelhe the National Democratic Congress ya masaban ball ga upper east zan ala NDC ken na ta ma la sports sector la so ya song to king na. I want to thank you so much for the time.
Dr. Awa, thank you for the time. So I think you've got a certain timeline of 2025 there. I heard 2025, but let's see how it goes by the end of the year. This has been our conversation on the NDC's policies for sports. Veronica Kwame is a sports journalist. General Motor is also a sports journalist. And the NDC spokesperson on sports, Dr. Fred Awa, has been our guest. Thank you for making the time. We'll take a quick break. When we return, there is an artist in the house. We'll meet him soon. See ya.
Greetings, welcome back to the show. Like we promised at the beginning, we are spending the last part of our breakfast table with Bogo Blay. That's his jam that just went by, titled Django. Yes. Greetings, welcome to the studio.
Thank you.
Listen, you have to hold my hand.
Okay.
And then sort of swivel me, turn me around. Okay. Thank you. That's how we're going to do it.
Okay.
There's something I'm lacking downstairs. Okay. So when you see me turning like this, just turn me towards you. Okay. Please turn me towards you again. Okay. Yes, we are good.
Well, this one, we have a Django movie.
Yes.
That is DJ. This one is J.
Okay.
So the meaning of this one is strong and amazing.
Strong and amazing. In which language?
I don't know. Yeah, but then I searched online.
Okay.
Yeah, and then
strong and amazing.
Strong and amazing.
Are you a strong and amazing person?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah? Okay. Why did you choose the name Bogo Blay? Is that your full name? Is that your real name? Is that a nickname?
So Bogo Blay is my real name.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So the full name is Bogo Blay Labran David. David is my Christian name, and then Labran is the middle name.
Okay. David Labran, Bogo Blay. Okay, so why did you pick, out of those three, why did you pick Bogo Blay as your stage name?
Since day one.
Okay.
Cum Lao, it didn't work.
Cum Lao.
Yeah. Teabag, it didn't work.
Teabag, I know Teabag. Prison break. Hey.
Yeah, it didn't work. And then
Bogo Blay. Okay. So when did you know you wanted to do music? Have you always known?
Nah, I think 2012.
Okay.
Yeah, I was in high school.
Where's high school?
Japas.
Okay.
The best senior high school in the world.
You want to start this debate? This table we are going to shake. It's going to cause problems. Japas. What's the full name?
Jachi
you have to swing me again. You have to
come here.
Yes. Thank you very much. Okay, good.
Yes.
What's the full name of the school again?
So Jachi Pramso Senior High in Kumasi.
Japas.
Yeah,
and you
Japas.
say it's the best school in Ghana.
In the world.
Boss, this one, you're calling your blood.
Is it because of the name?
No, it's not because of the. Why do you sit here and just think your school is the best?
Because it's the best.
Okay, well, you think it's the best. I want to say Mary's girls, Mary's.
Oh, girls. Oh.
Hey, I said, oh, girls. I said, girl here interviewing you. No, we are taking this table. I want to start this fight. Stop. Okay, so right there, you knew you were going to do music. Where? Form 1, Form 2, Form 3. How did you know?
I think Form 2, because it was the time for inter-schools competition.
Okay.
And, you know, I was with the boys. They normally create JAMA when it comes to that point. And then I was trying to create my JAMA. Like, I wanted to create something that they are going to sing along. I'm going to lead. Okay. But then it came as a rap. And I was like, oh, okay, this is good. Yeah, it's good. So from there, I didn't even know, like, that I was going to be able to do it.
Okay.
But then it came, and then people were like, oh, this guy raps. So the next time I see them, like the next day, I was like, okay, I shouldn't disappoint them, because they started spreading the news. And then people were like, oh, okay, they say you rap. So from there, like, I was always trying to create something new. And then,
do you remember that Jama that you tried to remake? Do you remember it?
Yeah. By a few lines though.
Okay. Please do it for us.
Okay, so we had this rivalry with T.I. Amas. T.I. Amas. So I think I started like T.I. in the way in the name of Amas ni in the way in the name of and I'm saying Yanko Pondo Japas inti unte krampose obimpose etu. We believe we can fly, yet me too. We are heavy and tough, yemudu. We are dangerous. Like a night wolf to say another epoteku, something.
Okay. And that's how you were born as an artist. Okay. So after that, what happened? You wanted to keep up. So the next day you went back harder.
Yeah.
With another rap.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because they were like the news were like traveling, and then people were like, oh, they say you rap. I didn't want to tell them no. So whenever they say that to me, I'll say yes. Then give us freestyle.
Yes.
Then I drop something. So I'll go to the dormitory and then create something for the next day.
Okay.
So I realized that, like, I was falling in love with music, and then.
Okay. But did you find that it came easy to you?
I'll say music found me.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Is it in a family? Somebody in your family?
Nah.
Mm-hmm. So you're the first of your kind,
First.
Nice. The first Bogo Blay to do music.
Yeah.
Okay. So what has your musical journey been like? After school, what next?
So after school, I came to Tema, and then...
Which community in Tema?
Come to 25.
Yes, really.
Yeah,
Okay.
25. So I was with this music thing, and then I went to Vodafone Icons.
Okay.
Yeah, in 2018.
Nice.
Yeah, so I won. Yeah, I was crowned the winner, and then from there, I kept on and kept on and kept on. But I think it's time, after Vodafone Icons, I thought
That's
maybe...
2018.
2018.
Okay.
I thought I was going to blow, like, from there to the world, boom. But then I realized everything takes time. Yeah, so gradually. But I think now God is working, because songs that I did in 2021, they're now making waves. So I think the time is now.
The time is now, yeah. So a song that you did in 2021, which probably people it didn't blow like how you expected it. And there was you did a performance at City TV, and then people started going back to the song. What is it about the song? What's about is it the lyrics? What's about the song that's appealing to people now? What do you think? So
at first I thought maybe I wasn't doing the nicest songs or something.
Okay.
But then I got to realize, like, it's the people who haven't heard of my songs. It's not me that I'm not doing the right thing. Because
maybe your marketing strategy back then?
Yeah, I was just dropping them and then talking to God. But then it wasn't like that.
Okay.
Yeah, you should promote it a bit in your way so that God will do the rest. So I did this performance and I posted on TikTok, and then like it went viral, and then people started jumping on the video. They started using the sound, and then
what was the title of the song?
Zoom.
Zoom. Why Zoom though?
Because we zoom.
Don't do that. Do you want to give us a freestyle?
Okay.
Let's know what it sounds like, and then we'll play the video.
It's kind of call and response.
Okay.
So whatever I say, you say Zoom.
I got you.
Yeah. You ready?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a club in your dollar, Mr. DJ Mami.
Zoom.
Me sure na be do a chucha binti bone.
Zoom.
Or the Sunday si ho bend down chese.
Zoom.
Se biti ni jigu me fa na suma yepe.
Zoom.
And ajo ye koda na mesaka na kati.
Zoom.
Watch my bomi naked aka chale wati.
Zoom.
And every single lady na the Zoom yard. Zoom, zoom, come on.
Zoom. Okay, so I get why it's catching on. It has like a jammable, danceable vibe. Okay, so when you're not doing music, yeah? Wait, now that this song has come back and everybody is jamming to it and they are using the sound, how does that make you feel?
Great.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's what I'm working towards. For people to see me and then, like, to get there, to get to the top. And then people getting to know me is part of the journey to get to the top. So I think, like, things are working out.
Okay, okay. Yeah. When you're not doing music, what do you do? Do you have any other professions? What do you do when you're
music
not
is all I do.
Music is all you do?
Yeah.
Okay. If music is all you do, would you consider, what kind of artists would you call yourself? Are you upcoming, a known artist, popular artist? How would you call yourself?
Okay. I don't tag myself with upcoming stuff. I'm an artist.
Okay.
Because you could be number one in this town, but then someone doesn't know you.
Yeah, feel you.
Town.
Yeah.
So maybe we have top list or A-list artists in Ghana that people in Gambia will call them upcoming because they don't know them.
Okay, I feel you.
So I'm an artist.
Okay, so why I was asking that is, I know that for some of these other artists, funding is a big problem for every creative, And so if you're just doing music, how are you, what's the financial thing like? How do you put your money into the music? Tell us about the finances. I know it's a tough thing, yeah.
Now I'm not making much.
Okay.
But then the little that I'm making, I just put everything back in the music.
Okay.
Yeah, and I have my team, a few people that support as well. Yeah, so we are doing this together.
Okay.
We don't have, let's say, $1 million plan or budget or something, but then the little that we make. Now, right now, we're using what we have.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're just doing it small.
Okay. Do you belong to a record label?
No.
Okay. How are you going about finances and collecting your royalties? Is there a way that you can measure? How do you go about that?
So I think it's the distribution agency.
Okay.
Yeah, so, independent artists, most of them, like they have these agencies online
Okay.
that you distribute your song. Like you send them your song and they will distribute, and then they give you the royalties. Yeah, so I think that's how we're making money.
Okay,
now.
okay. And you're able to, your team is able to track your royalties. So all your money, you put it back into it.
Yeah.
Are you looking for a record label or you want to remain an independent artist?
Okay, so it depends. Yeah, because we have artists that will get into a record label and then go down.
Fizzle
and
out.
then and then we have people that they will be stars on, like they are not stars yet until they find a record label. Yeah, so it depends. If the record label comes and then their terms and something like, I don't know, if it's cool, like it favors me or my team, we go for it.
Okay.
But then if we see that, okay, this is not something that is going to help, we will stay.
Okay. Well, what's the new one? What's
Pam.
the title of your new, what's it, Pam?
Pam.
Why Pam? Why Pam?
Okay, so Pam, it's spelled P-A-M, but then I meant pound. Yeah, we pound it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of dancehall. You know, dancehall, we have these 1 2 stuff in there. Yeah.
So Pam people, let's enjoy the latest one from Bogoble and we'll come back into studio.
Yeah.
Banga be that. Look, so I love the video. Well, you were walking us through, and I like your movements and all that. I love the video. What are your comments that you've gotten on the video?
So people are just loving the song. Yeah, they're not actually commenting on the video, but then the style of the song. Yeah, and then the beat, the composition. Yeah.
So what is it? Raga, dancehall, reggae?
I don't even know.
You're just being a creative. How did they come out? What are you thinking of?
I just wanted to do something new. You know, this style is not there. Yeah, so I just wanted to create something. Like, that's what I do. That's why I don't want to call myself hip life, high life, dancehall. I'm just an artist. Yeah.
We love this. We love this. So this one is fluid. It doesn't have, you don't know what to call it.
Yeah.
How's it doing?
But people call it dancehall. People call it hip life. I just leave it to the people. Yeah.
You know, well, pick your choice, eh?
Yeah.
Okay. And then there's an upcoming peace walk. Why a peace walk, though?
Yeah, because you know, in Ghana, like people don't really think democracy is all about unity.
Okay.
They think if you're in party A, you can't mingle with party B. But the truth is, the leaders of the party A and party B, they talk to each other all the time. But then we, the underground, alhamdulillah, we keep fighting all the time.
Okay.
So like I'm just preaching like unity.
Okay.
That if you're in party A, you can come together with party B. Let's work.
Okay, because you're doing this, and I'm curious. What is your take about artists aligning themselves to political parties?
If it's going to help them, fine.
Okay.
Yeah, because some people, it's unless they get to that years. Party A calling the person is an opportunity for the person. Okay. So if you create that barrier or something like, okay, I won't do this, your fellow artists will go and then make money, and then you will still be here. And then when you get to 60, that's where you realize everything was about your happiness.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you don't think that way and you live your life based on people's opinions or like what people say, you grow old and then be sad.
Okay. So is there possibility in the near future if a political party approaches you,
you
do a song for them?
Yeah, if they come, I'll do it for them.
Yeah?
I'm an artist. I'm a musician.
Okay, it's business.
Yeah, they need music. That's why they came to me.
Yeah, that's it. We love. So when is the date for the peace walk? We'd like to come.
28th September, next month.
Okay, exactly a month and a day from today. What time does it start?
6 a.m. to 10 a.m.
Where?
Circle or the Rise.
Okay.
Yeah, and then the end point is at Kotobabi, Wembley. Is it Wembley? Yeah, Wembley.
Okay. So who is invited for the walk?
GTV.
We will be there. We're already there. We are standing in the front with you. Which other people are invited?
The whole Ghana.
The whole Ghana is invited, yeah? Nice.
We're still talking to people like media men, big men, politicians. Yeah, but then we're telling everybody to be there.
We like vibing with you. We are looking out for more songs coming from your camp. So what's it when it comes to the area of dating? Are you single, searching,
I'm
not
single.
looking?
I'm single.
You're single.
Right now, music first. Let's.
But you're single.
Yeah, I'm single.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not mingling.
Nah, music first.
Okay.
Let's make it. Now it's now that the music is picking up. If I be like, yo, Charlie, found team, I'm trying. By the time I come back, Charlie, then music is gone. Yeah. So now I'm doing music now.
Okay. So you're just gonna be focusing on music.
Yeah.
Right. We love that.
Bless.
Okay, we've been spending time with Motorway. He's the latest artist on the block. His song Palm is making headlines. It's a jammable song, so if you're looking to update your playlist, go ahead, go across social media. How do we find you on social media though? Are you very interactive?
On TikTok, yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
what's your TikTok?
Bogoblay, Bogoblay, at Bogoblay.
Okay.
People call me Bongo. Yes, I'm Ghana for. My name is not Bongo, it's Bogo. So it's Bogo, it's not Bongo.
Okay.
Yeah, Bogo.
Bogoblay people.
Yeah,